God damn, Gary. Some serious gourmet shit. What flavor is this? That's right, it's the all-hell medium roast private blend. Check out the Geek Grind Coffee Nerdrotic page for our other options like the Decadent, Feathers of Liberty, vanilla-infused flavored coffee. Or if you're looking for something darker, try the Dark Roast FNT blend of the Fellowship. You know what? Just buy all three. GeekGrindCoffee.com. Use discount code Nerdrotic. Huzzah!
I learned a long time ago that there's no sense getting all riled up every time a bunch of idiots give you a hard time. In the end, the universe tends to unfold as it should. Plus, I have a really large penis. That keeps me happy.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Woke!
It looks like Chuck's taking the skin boat to Tuna Town.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
God darn it, Mr. Lamar. You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
These are daggers dropped by my men that were slaughtered by an ice troll in the second age. But I do not like to talk of such things. And for you, Legolas, this is a new bow, so that you may kill a troll as quickly as I did, in under 10 seconds. And for Samwise Gamgee, rope forged from the hair of an ice troll that I killed many years ago. And for Frodo, the bottled tears of an ice troll. Did I mention I killed an ice troll many years ago, in under 10 seconds? Fare thee well, my friends, and may these gifts forged from the body of an ice troll that I killed many years ago in the second age in under 10 seconds. Fare you well on your journey.
Did I ever tell you about Ahsoka Tano? She was your father's exotic teenage alien apprentice, a fine piece of jailbait from a more civilized age. She had the tightest body and the perkiest little breasts in the galaxy, barely legal in most systems. Anakin and I used to double-team her at the end of every during the Clone Wars, and once in a while we'd even have the entire 500 first run a train over her, part of official jet.
So much like your father.
Probably late.
Quiet there. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Back home, back in San Antonio, Texas. There's a cold front. It's only 93 degrees today, so I'm happy to be here. Hail, everyone! And apparently, while I was gone, Disney Star Wars was saved. That's good. By a blinky Anakin Darth Vader. Mahler just put out a banger of a video that gives you a great example of two shows where they did something similar, but it meant something, and then he showed Ahsoka where it means nothing. And as I stated in the last live stream I did from the UK, Ahsoka really is everything wrong with Disney Star Wars. It's just self-referential. It's not about anything anymore, and it doesn't mean anything anymore. It was just meant to make a gif of blinky Anakin Darth Vader that a lot of people applauded. So yeah, you saved Disney Star Wars until The Acolyte comes out, which is a show run by former Harvey Weinstein assistant Leslie Headland, who led the women to their slaughter, in my opinion. It was a great trip to the UK. That was like a time of your life trip. One of those trips you take that's just seared into your memory. I got to meet some of my best friends for the first time, which is weird. That's the state of the world we're in right now. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Actually, I think that's a good thing. Many people get on the internet, but for it, it's because of people. You take the good with the bad. But there's a lot of good out there, and meeting Az for the first time and hanging out with Shad and getting to hang out with Garrett and X-Ray Girl and Adam Krigler. It was just a Disparu, and seeing Will and seeing the Fellowship, who was just very strong in the UK, by the way. Dude, I just duded the entire audience, by the way. I am Southern Californian at heart, unfortunately, but I just duded you all. Dude, when you're at the Louvre or the Louvre in Paris, France, and I randomly run into somebody who watches our show, who wasn't there for the meetup or anything, was just on vacation, and this guy's like, Gary from Nerdrotic, and I'm in the Louvre. I'm like, what the hell? This is so weird. It's rad, but it's weird. It's weird. But yeah, I went to the Lou and the Louvre. I did. Saw the Mona Lisa with about 1,000 other people with their phones up, and it's behind glass now because of the climate change activist dickheads. Oh, thank you for welcoming me back. Let's see how you guys are doing. We have stuff to watch. We have Daniel Stevens, Eric K. What's up, brother? Hope all is well in your world. Rat Child UK, Superman 82, Marasaki Okami. Because famous weeb. I'm a famous weeb now because I love One Piece. One Piece is the best show of the year, hands down. It was Picard season 3 till I saw One Piece. I still love Picard season 3. By the way, total aside here, I got my Steelbook Blu-rays. Unfortunately, I have to buy them secondhand. I'd love to support Terry Metalis. I would, but I can't support Paramount, so I bought them off a dude on eBay to help. It helps justify it in my mind. Do they eventually still get the money? Sure, but they don't get mine. And those fucking idiots only put it in Blu-ray. They're not putting it in 4K. They didn't shoot it in 4K because they didn't have the budget. But Strange New Worlds is in 4K, so you can see autistic Spock, who's the butt of many jokes because he's autistic Spock, which is fucking horrible as it is. Then you could see singing Klingons too in Glorious 4, or not see it because most of you won't. It's such a joke. Ahsoka is the greatest show ever made. Yes, it is, chat. It is. And we're just haters. We just hate everything. No, I'm a disliker of bad things. I'm a liker of good things. And I'm honest about it. And if Ahsoka was good, I would say, hey, it's good. It's no skin off my back. You know, it's not like I have to do anything to add to the narrative that Star Wars is dead, because it's not a narrative, it's a fact. It's a fact. Disney Star Wars is garbage. And what it has created is more bad Star Wars than good Star Wars. Has it created any good Star Wars? You know, there's an argument to be made about maybe Rogue One, maybe. But none of it's great. Star Wars used to be great. Now it is a dead brand, owned by a company with a damaged brand. Disney is damaged goods at this point. Their stock proves that. Bob Iger's the most vilified man in Hollywood right now. And it doesn't help that when you're a family brand, the fundamental mistake you can make when you are a brand, when you are a company that decides to identify, like, for example, the brand of Warner Brothers is a lot of stuff. It's anything from children's stuff to adult stuff. The brand of Disney has been a family brand. Now, I have always stated that that's limited them creatively for a long time. And that's why they, quite frankly, didn't crank out a bunch of great movies outside of kids' movies. I'm talking about like regular adult movies. And when they did, it was by accident, and they tried to, basically bury them when they bought all these properties. Tron Legacy, Dave Cullen just did a great video on it. I love that movie. I freaking love John Carter. I love Tron Legacy. Those are two good movies. What they inherited from Paramount with Marvel, they eventually destroyed. What they inherited from George Lucas or bought from him, they eventually destroyed. They eventually destroyed Pixar, something that was just printing money for them. Bob Iger is a failure, and I'm glad he's there to lord over it. But when you're a brand, and this goes down to even if you're an individual with, say, a YouTube channel, right? Anytime you're providing some sort of entertainment or information, and you are, or I am, I'll use my I statements, attached to one thing, and then you betray that one thing, you will fail 100% of the time. So when you're a family brand and you betray the family, you're going to fail. And eventually it will be their undoing, and they'll get bought or broken up or whatever. But their time in the sun has ended. It is over. And we're going to see the long, slow waning. Now, normally this would happen faster, but it's a monstrous company that, by the way, is dwarfed by bigger companies, but it's still so big that it's so entrenched in so many things. Absolute failure is almost impossible now, thanks to a lot of fortification and investments, and which we've gone over ad infinitum in our videos. But we'll chronicle its demise. I'm not a Star Wars fan. Haven't been in years. Was a lifelong Star Wars fan though. Like, well, from 7 on up. It's most of my life. It's kind of sad to see still, but not much you can do about it other than laugh at this point. Again, Mahler's video is a complete takedown. It is brilliantly done. Go watch it when you get a chance if you haven't already. That's kind of a surprise video from Mahler, but I kind of thought we might get one because he was particularly aggravated with this last episode. We discussed it a bunch on Friday Night Tides. I'm sure we're going to get to some questions here in just a moment that we'll go over it. We'll discuss, we argued. And it's the difference between what member berry, nostalgia bait. I just think it ultimately is good storytelling. If you say take the Enterprise D and fully reconstruct it, if you kind of plant that seed and make it part of a better, bigger story, and that's just there to kind of give your story a little oomph, I'm fine with that as long as it works within the story, which is the entire crew of the Enterprise getting together while being together for a while, by the way, throughout the entire series, and then getting on the bridge of the Enterprise D, which is actually finalizing your reuniting of the Star Trek Next Generation cast, because the Enterprise D is a character. The Enterprise is a character. So that's why it felt so good. Plus, we've also gotten so much bad Star Trek. That's just part of it too. That's part of it too. Oh, but I'm mostly over jet lag. I'm a little tired, but not bad. I stayed up for 20 hours straight. It was a 9-hour flight from the UK. Everything went, I mean, just lugging around bags everywhere. I'm so over that, but everything else was fantastic. The meetup was one of all the meetups are so fucking good. And we're amateurs at this. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we pull them off perfect or anything, but we do what we can. And I do what I can to make them always free. Okay. Always free. Which I might get a little, I mean, like, listen, I've been approached and it's been talked about of like working on an event where we charge. I'm not into that. I like if I go to a con or something like that, that's cool, but I'm not into charging tickets to see me. I think that's utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Just we'll always try to find a way. What I guess I gotta get because I gotta go to the gym later with my kid. But yeah, seeing the conversation go on, Ryan has mentioned this and so have others. Like we kind of expected this to happen with Anakin coming back. Listen, it's an argument between amongst a shrinking audience of people who actually give a shit. And when we see Ahsoka ratings hovering around, I mean, within the thousands of the same ratings as Secret Invasion, that tells you all you need to know. I think Mahler did a great job in his video showing how this amplification happens. Why not saying anything? This is what's great about Mahler is he's not going to spoon feed you everything. He's going to show you stuff. And he showed a bunch of tweets. He had AI read it, which is very funny because we started doing that too in our strike videos just to troll a little bit. Perry started having AI construct stuff. It's pretty funny. But he showed all these tweets and had the hashtags read out. Tano Tuesday. Yeah, this is totally natural. It's not a third-party company trying to boost interest on a platform. That would never happen. Disney's always so upfront and honest about everything. This is why you got to go back to the argument of us, of you and I taking our time to create accounts to review bomb a movie, or actually putting money into it. That's fucking utterly ridiculous. A giant billion-dollar corporation protecting their property. Absolutely. It's being done. It's being done by everybody, by the way. And you have that third-party company do it, so you have plausible deniability. It's much what the government does. So, yeah, I'm sure it doesn't surprise anybody that Hollywood is fake as fuck, and it's going to have a very hard time in this new era where being fake as fuck isn't going to work anymore. People are getting very tired of it. But like I said, excuse me, this is going to be a long waning. It's not something that's just going to dive off a cliff overnight. All right. We got 20 British pounds. That's proper money. From Steve Watson. I'm autistic on Kurtzman Spock. I second your emotion. Cheers. Yeah, I think it's pretty fucked up. For one, that's not the character. Okay. He's a Vulcan. He's half human, but he's a Vulcan. And they just shows their fundamental misunderstanding of the character. It's become a parody. Welcome back, Gary. Sent you an email. Silver H bags are on sale at Amazon. Stock up for the next bag and board. Hail to the fellowship. Hail chat. Hail mods. Duck Fisney. Thank you, Radio Man 1017 for $10. I will check it out. But are they My Lights? I specifically use My Lights. But if they're discount, yeah, I just bought some because I'm out. I'm going to show some comics tomorrow on Real BBC anyway. But thanks, guys. We're gonna get to the square up in just a moment. I'm gonna read some of the member chats here. The Arc Spartan member for 3 months. I may require an intervention because I liked the last 2 episodes. They are not without fault, though. I have yet to hear invalid criticism. Hail, yeah. I'm gonna rip the shit out of something, and I'm gonna say it's stupid, but don't let I would say even Mahler, don't let any of us screw up your good time. By the way, we can't. I don't have that power. Mahler doesn't have that power. And the only people that's a normal reaction to this, by the way. This is completely normal. That's a human being and not another content creator. That's usually where you hear most of that stuff from. So cheers. Thank you. Smooth the DJ says membership milestone. Who dis? Hail to the 199.9 and the fellowship. Hail to you, Smooth. Can't wait to hear about your thoughts on the One Piece manga. Well, it's funny that you bring that up, Andrew McCarthy, for $1.99. I was sent a literal shit ton. That's the actual measurement of manga and anime. And I have so much One Piece stuff. It's freaking awesome. So it's kind of cool to now be able to like really dive into it. You know, I was checking it out, but now I'm going to really dive into it. And I have I'm going to have to build a bookshelf in my kids' room to put all the manga because I'm out of room everywhere else. And then it could just become my manga room once he moves out, which, you know, it pains me to say sooner than later because they're getting old, because I'm getting old. But One Piece is fucking magnificent. Coop became a member. Cheers. Thank you. Are you going to San Antonio Comic Book Convention in October? Jose for 2 months. When is it? Let me check. Antonio Convention is October 6th. Yeah, I'll probably go. That will be no trouble. I'll be home and I will go. I will go. That should be fun. I went to a comic store in France. It's called Album Comics. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Welcome back to the U.S. and congratulations on not getting the commie cough from Quarter Black. Stargate will make a great palate cleanser. It will. It will. I have seen One Piece all the way through 3 times. Yep. Anytime I had downtime in Europe, we fired up a couple episodes. I watched the whole series on the plane home. So I downloaded it on my phone and just watched it the whole way, all the way through. Will you ever do a video about Buffy with Mahler? Yes, we will do something together. I'm currently on a rewatch. I watched Gingerbread last night from season 3. I made it through 1 episode before I lost consciousness. Did we get a scene with Sabine flicking her bean? Not yet, but I mean, the series isn't over yet. Fizenthorpe. Southeastern Kaiju is a member, a traveler. Gary is the dude who brought Steelbook, who bought Steelbook comics off a dude who got it from another dude. That's right. Thundercats, ho! Welcome home. Hope to catch you next time. There will be a next time. There will. We found some better hotels too. Welcome back, Gary. I read that one. Sorry. My apologies. If you like East Blue, wait till you get to Alabasta Water 7. Marine Ford, Dressrosa, and Whole Cake. One Piece is such an amazing world. It's to me what Buffy is to you. Excellent. Well, it's a world I'll be checking out. I have a ton of I have a bunch of the Blu-ray animes. I have all this stuff. So I'm going to be entertained for a while. Gary, cheeseburger, no Coke, Pepsi, coffee only. Gary, make coffee. I will. Thank you, Malachi D. Wildman. A nice reference to Saturday Night Live and John Belushi. May he rest in peace. Read that one. And yeah, it's offensive. which you can be offensive, but that's the whole point. Is Hollywood gets on their fucking soapboxes and say how much they care about people, but they're the same dickheads they've always been. Just like Apple is an evil company and Nike is an evil company. They come out with all this DEI bullshit to cover from basically being the same assholes they've always been. Wait, Mahler, is Mahler here? Oh, I'll give him a wrench. Hang on. Does he not have a wrench here? Are you in the chat, Mahler? Hang on. Because I got to go somewhere else to give him a wrench. You're going to hear me first. No. Is Mahler here? Hang on. I'm going through the chat because I will wrench his ass. I didn't know he was here. I see Luke Caverns is here. What's up, buddy? I'll get to you in just a mo. I don't see Mahler. Maybe if Mahler comes up in the chat again, I will wrench. There he is. Okay, I see him. Okay, wait. Add as moderator. Do you want to be a managing moderator or a standard moderator? You can be managing. You're my boo. There you go. I don't know. I hope that doesn't kick any, because you all should be managing moderators. But there you go. You have all the power, Mahler. You want a link, you can come in, but I'm just going to read super chats. But here, I'll send you a link. Bop, boop, 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 doo, doo, doo. Choop. You don't have to come in, though. There's no... Oh, he says, hey, here we go. Boom. Boom. There you go, buddy. There you go. I'll make time for you. I always make time for you. Luke Caverns, man. I'm a Disney show. You know it. Like, just because Mahler and I and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and Ryan and Az, we're all a bunch of... We help Disney more than anybody. Don't we?
We do.
We do. What's up, man?
Hey, dude. How you doing?
Good.
I've heard you enjoyed the video, which is music to my ears, of course.
I loved it. I especially loved the tweets.
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off.
So what's funny about that is when I was setting them up, I, of course, copied and pasted the tweet into the box for the bot to read it. And then my first thought was like, oh, I'll chop out all the hashtag shit because obviously I'm the point. But I played it and I listened to it. I was like, oh my God, that's perfect.
It is.
It's so good.
Well, especially with like Tano Tuesday. I'm like, that no human being came up with that. Okay. that is a group of woke white women at an ad agency came up with that. That is who know nothing about Star Wars.
That was my pick for the funniest one. I couldn't believe. I was like, what the fuck is Tano Tuesday?
Never heard of it till I saw your video. But good God, well done. I knew that that lit a fire under your ass based on what we talked about.
I got especially pissed off, and then funnily enough, just random friend, we were watching the newer episodes of Futurama, and they were like talking about their favorites, and I was like, oh, you should watch The Sting. It's one of my favorite episodes. And then we watched it, and that was like 2 days before the Ahsoka episode, and obviously Buffy is on my mind 24/7. So I was these two. And because I was listening to your stream and you pretty much got it. It's that there's so much meaning to be drawn out of them. I've had a lot of feedback already from people saying like, that Futurama episode, I got to go check that out. It's like, yeah, you should. It's really good. It's really bold for a show that's meant for kids messing around, having fun. It deals with like a person. It's just a difficulty that you want to see more of in these shows, that they have to deal with flaws. They have to deal with horrible circumstances. They'll never let that happen to these characters in the new Star Wars shit.
No, absolutely. Well, for one, because they limit themselves so much on creativity by the random rules they set on themselves, including like a woman cannot be shown having any kind of weakness at any time, especially when it pertains to like a dude. Like it would be very hard for Hollywood to make that Futurama episode now, right? And
to clarify, someone said, how is Futurama for kids? I'm 30 now, so when I say kids, I mean like teenagers.
Yeah, and it is for kids. For one, I I do not believe in the dumbing down things for kids. I think that's fucking horrible, and it's one of the worst things they've done in comics and in Hollywood over the last 20, 30 years, because the stuff I was watching was not made for kids when I was a kid. I just had to figure it out.
I was a kid when I watched it, and I loved that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that it's been so long. I got it. That was so good, and that was well done. And I haven't got to that Buffy episode yet, but we will. Yeah, I'm only on season 3 right now. I just did Gingerbread. So,
well, you'll get there. Season 5, man, full of bangers.
I know.
And yeah, I was talking to a friend about it. That episode is so obvious to do the thing of like, well, this is all really difficult. She lost Dawn. Glory's really powerful. Blah blah. Blah. Then you find out, like near the end, no, it's about how she actually kind of wanted Dawn to die at one point because it would make everything easier. It's like, whoa, that's a risky thing to give to your hero protagonist. You got to be very careful because a lot of people could be very upset by that. And that, I think that boldness, that ballsiness, you're never going to get it in Star Wars. They would never have Ahsoka say something like, I don't want the responsibility of having to look after you. If you died, it would actually kind of get rid of that for me. Like they would never do it.
No. And just talk about One Piece real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
In episode 7 at the end, which is like the best part of the series, we have a character that has been like really standoffish, right? And you could see it in her performance the whole way through. Like she's like restrained, like pain. It comes through in her face. It comes through in the actual acting. That all kind of gets let out, and then she starts stabbing herself.
Yeah,
and then she asks for help, and it's so I'll never forget. I was with Shad, and we're like, "What?" It's the second time we did that in the series. We're like, we have not seen this in so long.
I've been rewatching it lately.
What's that?
Farscape.
Oh, dude.
Oh. They just got past the episode, I don't know if you remember it, where they visit like this sort of doctor, scientist, creepy alien dude who's collecting DNA from all over the universe.
Yep.
He says he wants the DNA to let them know where in the world they're from, so he can give them a map back. But when it comes to Aaron, he puts something in her, and it starts to mutate her because he's experimenting and stuff.
Yep.
And up to this point in the series, she's been incredibly strong and cold and doesn't take shit from anybody. And then there's just a scene where she's realizing she's falling apart. We got some body horror shit in that episode, and she basically just says, "I'm scared. I don't want to die." Like that sort of thing. It's just like shit. Like we tear her right down, and then Crichton and the team have got to get her back up. Being vulnerable, man.
Being vulnerable. We're missing that in mainly our female characters right now, and that's what's keeping them from being characters. It's really kind of simple, right?
Oh yeah.
But that portrayal would be supporting the patriarchy somehow. I don't make the rules. I just observe what's going on, and that is their rules.
They will machine gun flaws onto the male characters, like Nick Fury, for example, a really great recent example. They just completely retconned all of his history, so he's an inept asshole. It's just like, what the hell? And he doesn't have any like meaningful arc to overcome it or learn anything from it. And then meanwhile, of course, like what is Ahsoka's flaw? What did she do wrong? And it's like, well, she doubted how amazing she was for a few seconds there.
I guess. Okay. Yeah. Well, she left the Jedi Order because the Jedi accused her of something she didn't do, and you had to watch that in Clone Wars or Rebel. I can't remember.
Yes.
I don't care. No explanation of that at all in the show. And if you haven't, and I've seen people go after Drunk and you and me, like, well, you got to watch Rebels. And I watched Clone Wars, and I watched half of Rebels. I'm not going to watch all of Rebels because Rebels wasn't good. 3
different, very trusted friends of mine tell me that they've seen all of Rebels and Clone Wars, and that this does not help it.
No.
It's, if anything, makes it worse. You can find some top comments on the video already, people explaining how much contradictions there are if you watch Clone Wars and Rebels in terms of contradictions from that to this episode. But hey, those clips, man. She recognized the lightsaber was red. She was enjoying that.
Yeah.
Nice
hey,
red.
Oh my God, those clips are hilarious. By the way, I meant to show. We couldn't show them on FNT because, like, my French internet connection, that should be a movie, was not very good. So I'm glad you put him in there because that's kind of what
It
we're
was
dealing with.
so fucking sad to see when I saw that because I kind of avoid that side of the internet. I'm just like,
I do too. Especially the grown ass men in their pajamas reacting to stuff because listen, I'm in front of a bunch of action figures and I'm not wearing pants right now, but I'm not going to show and like wearing my pajamas on a live stream.
you know, like shedding tears when like Boromir dies or the
Yeah.
charge for the Rohirrim and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I get it, and I'm totally on board with it, and it totally makes sense. And but when Vader just goes hi and people cry, I'm like, oh my god, okay, like, jeez.
Reaction content got popular when it was real, right? You know, when famously that bar, I can't remember the bar. I think it's in Boston.
Oh yeah, the Game of Thrones one, yeah.
Game of Thrones one. There were some good reactions out of that. You know, those were fun to watch, but yeah. Not a big fan of the other stuff. And it's just become a meme. And the Grizzy is the YouTube channel. Freaking great stuff, man.
The quote unquote tears that they're dropping, some of them you're looking at their faces like you're not even you're not even feeling anything. You just
no.
Is this scripted? Like, do you actually is this someone just off screen directing you with little paddles? Like, cry here, smile here, say vaded, he vaded. Look at him, he vaded.
He vadered.
I'd like that term to live in infamy as an example of just how fucked Star Wars is. He vaded.
That's oh boy. And it will. We can make it live in infamy. You know, the chat
I mean,
can.
we'll be
Just like
referencing it
never
more.
letting it go. I'm pretty good at that stuff. I'll just stick to a word and I'll keep using it.
I'm always happy for things to move on or to die naturally and everything. It's just that, like, it's just a reminder sort of thing. Because when you look back, it's insane. When I was writing the script out, I was like, all right, so who are the key janglers? And then I was like, oh yeah, of course, when Qui-Gon showed up and thingy, when Cad Bane showed up, I was just like starting to label them. I was like, fuck me, there's a lot. I'm not even sure I'll include all of these. There's not much point. When I was getting to, like, the list was huge. I was like, I'll just do the ones that were big, I guess.
And that could have easily been another 6-hour video, dude.
Yeah, well, this happens every single time because we talked about Kenobi, and it's like you had Liam Neeson willing to get in the full getup for Qui-Gon, and you only had him appear and go hi.
Yeah,
that's it. In an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it's like, wow, okay. And then you had Liam Neeson criticizing them for that, like in how they've expanded Star Wars so much, it's not worth anything anymore.
It's not. It's not. They've watered it down. They've diluted it, and Disney has done that with so many things. And there's just so much more bad Star Wars than there is good. In a couple of years, it will be faded from the public. It'll just be hardcore fans still talking about it, and it'll be probably, I mean, not even as good. So remember when Doctor Who was canceled? There was the dark period, but there were still books. And there were still comic books, and the legacy of Doctor Who was still intact. Like, it wasn't like it was damaged or anything. But now you're doing damage to the legacy of the characters that were popular, and it will just fade into complete apathy. And we're not far from it at all.
Anakin's totally going to come back again.
Oh,
and again, and again.
Anakin kind of rhymes, but it's because it works with some people, and but again, Anakin's something people like the idea of, but if you look at it in the context of the movies, okay, the prequels have their fans. That's fine. They're better than anything Disney Star Wars has ever produced. I'm not the biggest fan, and you know, the original trilogy didn't need a cartoon to help explain its the films. The prequels did need that. Problem is, a fraction of the audience watched it, right? And then the other thing that worked, they got rid of the EU. Yeah. So it is a bit astonishing sometimes when you see the same thing repeat. Like, it was just a little over a year ago, Obi-Wan comes out, and we're seeing the same things.
Yeah,
like the same arguments, the same things. It's like, guys, this just happened a year ago. You don't recognize this at all.
No, people were treating this like it was his return, his first return. It's like, did everyone forget?
Yeah,
it's crazy. He played Anakin and Darth Vader. He was in the suit. He did the crossover voice thing. He talked about
his mask got cut off, and you know,
he did all of the things. It's It's amazing that they're like, finally Hayden Christensen gets to redeem himself. It's like, I guess Kenobi didn't count for these people, but this does.
The next movie should be Vadered. That's what it should be. Vadered.
That's the title.
That's the title. Vadered.
He Vadered.
A
Look
Star
at
Wars
Vader.
story.
He's Vadering all over the place.
He's Vadered. All over Ahsoka. Oh, and God, you need that to, like, your main character isn't interesting enough, so you need Hayden Christensen to come back, as you pointed out so
It's funny
perfectly.
as well. The fans of this Ahsoka like shitting all over Red Letter Media for being like, yeah, how dare you fuckers go after the prequels, when it's like the prequels, the praise I'll give the prequels, among other things, is they made loads of original stuff.
Yes.
And that original stuff the fans loved. There's loads of stuff in there that wasn't in the OT and wasn't from the OT. I think that's one of the things that Mike actually praises it for in his Revenge of the Sith video. He says that, you know, it's kind of remarkable how much restraint George pulled in the prequels, because we got, what, R2-D2? It's like he showed up, yeah, and C-3PO. It's like, what else? It's like, well, of course, Vader, Anakin as a young kid, and Obi-Wan. Well, most of everything else is all new.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new look, it's a new style, it's a new era, and there's, you know, the things that grew off it were crazy and interesting. The era we're in now, nothing is original. It's all grown up. Like, the most original thing is the Balin skull. It's like, okay. And he's like, you know, let's be honest, he's being pulled along by Ray Stevenson.
Yes. And like, he has great lines. I don't know what they mean, you know, because I don't know anything about this character. I mentioned it I threw it in as a comment on your video when it was premiering. I'm like, Star Wars is now choose your own characterization. Like, just imprint your own characterization, because there's nothing there.
Oh, I meant the comment about basically a Rubik's Cube and all the colors are white. It's just like spinning around. You complete it every time.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like last week on FNT, Ryan was like, well, I think this is going on. And he's like writing a better story. It's like, dude, there's no evidence of any of that going on. But I mean, it sounds better. It sounds good.
That's the thing. He says, so you know, it's time for you to make a choice, live or die. And then a little bit later on, he says, you gotta, I gave you a choice, live or die. And then he says, time to die. And then she says, I choose to live. And then he says, there's hope for you yet. That's basically the whole thing. Yeah.
Good talk.
Like I said, the Futurama, it's like you got to fight to get back to the loved ones that you're trying to reach by remaining in the coma. And for Buffy, it was you think your actions have killed Dawn, it's your inaction that's going to kill her. Very, very solid foundations of ideas, and the characters have to learn and understand and move on from. I don't understand what the fuck the point was in the Ahsoka episode. And I've already had some comments being like, you completely missed the point. It's like, yeah, okay. I tried to cover like 17 different interpretations. Still haven't covered the correct one, though.
Guess not. You know, you'll find it. In other news, communism has never been instituted properly. So same thing.
I don't believe for a second that the next episode or the one after it or the one after it is going to add to this one. Some people are saying like it's kind of weird you judged it before the season was out. It's like, do you really think they're going to do any more about this stuff? We'll have another set of scenes with Anakin talking about, like, by the way, what you learned in that episode. I wanted to make sure we went over it again.
Yep. And we have, 3 more episodes to go.
Yes, which the next one, the end of it, will be introducing Thrawn probably. And then the last 2 will be a two-parter of trying to stop him from coming back, but he will. And that'll set up the rest of the fucking Mando-verse, the Filoni-verse, the Ahsoka-verse. Incredibly exciting.
Which will be massively delayed because they haven't been able to make anything over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting if anybody, again, gives a shit 2 or 3
we got
years.
Loki season 2 to tide us over.
We do, and they announced today that it's going to be released at 6 p.m. Pacific time on a day early. It's almost like
a 2-episode launch or just one.
I didn't read that far. Maybe. I mean, one of my biggest complaints about streaming, I mean, it has been releasing your shit in the middle of the night. It's been fine since we've gotten mostly shit. So it's good that they're doing this. Now they have to make good content, good stories, actual television shows, not content. So
let's hope by the end of Loki season 2 we can say he vaded. That'll be really
neat. Vadered. Yeah. He Loki'd. He Loki'd.
Isn't it funny that the thing we're looking forward to the most is Richard E. Grant?
Yes, which is one of my favorite hot toys of all time. His Loki. But the fact that he's coming back is good. I love that.
That'll be a fun highlight. And that's the worry I have now for the next 3 episodes of Ahsoka is I'm waiting for them to kill Ray Stevenson's character. Either his Padawan stabs him in the back, or Ahsoka beats him in a fight or something. Because it's just the only fate they could have for that character at this point, is what I imagine.
Oh, I think his Padawan stabbing him in the back's a good one. I think that's a good. I mean, there's been no sign of her questioning him, but yeah, she's a girl, he's a guy. You can do the math. It's Disney.
This is what I mean. It's so fucking predictable as well. Like anyone who's like making a clothing go from gray to white. Someone in my Discord just shared a video saying that was genius symbolism. I wanted to kill myself. I was like, come on, guys. Luke wore dark colors in Return of the Jedi because he was facing temptation from the dark side. And ever since, we've decided like that. Because when I saw Rey wearing bright colors in Rise of Skywalker, I was just like, Jesus, this is so lame. She's enlightened now. She's a Skywalker, Gary. Did you know that?
Yes.
Skywalker. Ahsoka Skywalker. Give it time.
And apparently she didn't have that many clothes to change over the many years or whatever the time. I have no idea what the timeline was for the sequel trilogy. Not to this day.
No.
I don't know if it was a couple weeks, 5 years. No fucking idea.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was an hour between the first and second movie.
Yes, right?
I think.
Jesus. Oh man. I'm gonna get to some questions here, but you can pipe in.
Go for it.
Do what you need to do, man. But thanks for popping in. I'm still getting my bearings too, to be honest with you. So I'm not I'm at 80%.
Of course. Welcome back to the world of America instead of Britain.
Britain was fine. I heard it's gonna get hot there again.
Oh,
another heat wave is coming.
That's mean,
dude. You can't tell because I'm still like pasty white, but like I came back with a tan. I look like I came back from the Caribbean. Like it's crazy because it was nice and warm in real quick, Paris, France. Nice to visit. I probably would have liked it more if I was 30. When I was younger, I'm like, oh, look at the vibrant city and all this crazy stuff. As a 54-year-old running around, I'm like, fuck this. I would never live here. This is a giant pain in the ass. Everything is a pain in the ass. Getting on the train, getting on the bus, fuck that. Did get to walk around leisurely around the Eiffel Tower, which was pretty epic, and then go to the Louvre. That was pretty cool too. Hung out with Carrie Smith. Ran into her there. She was just randomly there. So that was, and her husband, Anthony. So again, Luke Caverns, I'm going to go back to Luke, is a YouTuber and an explorer. He likes to go find lost cities in the jungle and goes to Mexico and does crazy stuff. And he's only 25. He's awesome. Go subscribe to his channel. We've had him on Forbidden Frontier, which you do the voiceover of our intro.
I do.
And it's so good. You did such a good job.
As did Perry Chan. The editing on it is glorious.
He's magnificent, man. I don't know how he like. So when I do by the way, I'm just going to do videos from hotel rooms from now on. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to this was obviously a giant waste of time and I just need to go to hotel rooms. But when you do a video from the road, it's like doing a video with like an arm tied behind your back. It's tough. I'm on a laptop. I'm on a little table. I've got my soundboard. I've got my travel camera. Frames are skipping. All kinds of crazy shit's happening. And he just rocked it out, man. So good. So well done, sir. I don't know about the thoughts on Wells making Spider-Man Green Goblin. Orson Welles? H.G. Wells? Which Wells?
I'm assuming, is that like a new iteration of one of the comics or something?
Oh, Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells. Is it Zeb Wells?
Don't know.
Making Spider-Man Green. They're going to make Spider-Man like Peter Parker Green Goblin, or is it going to be like Eddie Brock 9043? So I'm going to just assume, because I don't read modern Marvel or DC anymore. But they did the Superior Spider-Man where Otto Octavius took over the body of Peter Parker. So is it something like that? That's fucking retarded. That's my thoughts on it. It's fucking retarded to do, like, when you're doing mishmashy stuff, when you're doing mashups of superheroes, when you're doing multiverses all the time, when you have to when you have to make Miles Morales 5 different superheroes, that means you're done. You're at the end, and you need to get new talent in there to kind of ground everything and bring things back to basics. But instead, they just want to do mashups and make everything gay. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. And honestly, I think Spider-Man died with one more day as far as the character. There were some good stories after that, but like honestly, that broke the character completely, which is sad. Mr. Grant Gregory, congratulations, by the way, Mr. Grant Gregory, just hit 100,000 subs thanks to the inspiration. Would love to have you on my celebration stream. Send me a link, tell me what days, and I'll try to make it. Okay, you know I'll be there. Love you, man. One of those Aussies. Hey guys, imagine if they made a show or a movie instead of Rey of Luke after Return of the Jedi, starting the Jedi Temple, a momentary falling to the dark side due to falling in love with Mara Jade. Yeah.
No one wants to see that. Let's watch Rey do it.
No one wants to see it. I would. That ship has sailed, but you can adapt. You could have adapted Dark Empire, or Heir to the Empire. You could have just adapted that. But no, the reason they got rid of the EU, you heard the reason, right, Mahler? I mean, aside from not wanting to pay residuals.
Been so long, I can't remember what the reason they gave or the
They
actual
thought
reason.
it would be creatively restraining.
Didn't she say, Kathleen Kennedy, that Marvel has way more source material to work with than Star Wars?
It's something I can't remember if it was Marvel, but it was, we don't have books. I think she was comparing it to Harry Potter or something. I can't, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But yeah, she said there was no books. She actually said that.
They fucking killed all of this great material they could have adapted and then have the balls to like
dude, some of the EU stuff is like legit good. Like the whole concept of it is really, really good. And they could have picked and chosen and just to adapt those books and done it forever.
You know, I know people in chat are going to be able to crack the hell out of this, but this is only from what people have told me. But is it the Yuzan Vong are like a faction from a different galaxy that come in, and the remaining remnants of the Empire and the Rebellion, or rather the New Republic, have to team up to stop the Yuzan Vong from destroying everything?
I don't know if that's a name, but that's awesome. See,
I was just like, that sounds so cool.
Yes, that's absolutely cool. And you know, the one thing we never saw was like full powered Luke Jedi. That's what people wanted to see. They wanted to see full powered Jedi Luke, which they never got to see ever. It wasn't real.
The Mando season 2 finale lasted a bit longer and was a bit better received at first, right? Because you're seeing him destroy robots and stuff, which is just like you see him strong. What a lot of people wanted to see. But like I said in the video, and I stand by it, like I don't think many people are looking back on that as like a great scene anymore. Especially with how I feel like he looks even worse than I remember now when I was looking at those clips. You know, the Skinwalker Luke, it's really like, like I don't even know how they did it that bad back then.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. That's why when I saw it, I felt, I acknowledged that people loved it, but I'm like, I feel nothing seeing this. Zero.
Oh, if anything, I think you can see it in the EFAP coverage. I was annoyed because I was just like, what? He's not saying anything. He's not doing anything. This isn't Luke. This is some weird like straw man. He's walking around.
He doesn't even acknowledge that there's people in the fucking room.
Yeah, he's like he's not even there.
Like, hey, what's going on here? Like, who are these people? Do they need help? Do they need like, what's going on?
Discover the context of what the hell is going on. It's like, nah, I'm going. Bye. It's like, okay.
Bye.
Yeah, something I wanted to talk to you about, of course, was that clip. Fun fact for people who don't know, the final render of this video was a few hours before it actually went out, or 6 hours before it went out, I think, because Metal Commander sent me that clip. Dave Filoni said that he's providing these characters in the same way that he provides toys to children, and he wants them to shut up and enjoy it for a little bit before providing another one. Unbelievable. Never seen a person refer to their own stories that way.
No, especially when it was supposed to be George Lucas's protege, which he's never been. He's a guy who worked for him, but it wasn't a protege. And that's obvious, by the way.
Yeah, because I seriously doubt that George would ever refer to his stories that way. These are all little toys for everybody to get busy with.
And George isn't perfect. Like George, we had the EU. I think Ryan went over it on a stream yesterday talking about like what there's never been a set canon outside of what's in the movies happened. That's it. But like as far as the books or audio adventures, like where they sit, I've always assumed it. Well, they're there as a side story to pretend to enjoy, but they will be forgotten completely in the movies. And who knew about TV shows back then? But he never did a Bible. He never sat down and he wasn't a writer. He's a filmmaker. He's not a writer. So he's not the kind of guy who's going to map out his lore or do a show Bible or do a Star Wars Bible. Probably should have done it though, or had somebody do it and make some kind of official timeline.
Yeah.
But that's all gone now.
Well,
that's all gone.
Way too late at this point, but
way too late.
I just for anyone who likes Filoni, like as a creator, I'd love to know what your opinion is of that clip. Because that was kind of what the whole point of the video was, and then I just see it and I was like, are you kidding me? You just dropped this on me? Like, thanks, I guess. I figured it from the writing, but I mean, now that I've got it explicitly, because you know what that means, right? Like Thrawn is supposed to keep us all going for a couple of years, and then he's going to try something else. That's basically what he's saying. Like he doesn't. It's not treating it like storytelling. He's not treating it like he's got something to say and do, and that this person represents something that the world will change. It's like, no, I just got to have him for a bit, and then we'll get rid of him. He's a toy.
Yep. Here, I found the clip. Hang on, I'll share it. It's OG Star Wars shared this, by the way. Boom, 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 boom. Give me a moment to see what we're referencing. It's also in Mahler's video, which you need to go watch. Make sure.
Yeah, and I'd say that there's probably a nicer interpretation of what he's saying, but holy shit, the words he used.
Yep. Let me know if you can hear this.
Status might be brought in.
Yeah,
Up in marriage aid earlier on, and who knows?
There's always
that guy said yes.
Yeah. See, I knew this would happen, which is I give Thrawn, but it's like as soon as you give them, it must be like if you have a child, you give them a toy, and they're like, "Yay! What else have you got?" And it's like, no, play with Thrawn. Play with Thrawn for a little bit.
It lasted for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Wow.
Play with Thrawn for a little bit, guys. Go play with him.
Go play with them. Your children. And yeah, I think you summed up the video perfectly at the end by saying Star Wars cannot grow up. Hang on just a second. When I'm done, we'll go to the gym. Okay. Sorry. I can't miss gym time with my son.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's thanks, Mel. By the way, I didn't say thank you. She brought in some bubble tea. Yum. No, that was perfect, dude. That's perfectly said. Robert Meyer Burnett a couple weeks ago said that Star Wars is about nothing. That was one of the best descriptions I've heard in a long time, and you kind of just summed it up perfectly. It's inability to grow up, and we thought, and this was just, I can't even say Disney promised this, but we thought that when Disney took over, that we'd get a more sophisticated Star Wars that might build on what George created, not shit on it and throw it all away. And we didn't
it's absolutely structureless. It's only designed to. It's funny how much, because I watched your FNT coverage as well. The amount of times everyone is just using member berries, like South Park has such an effect on culture. Like
I know, dude.
They did an excellent job because everyone knows what it means, what it references, and it's absolutely what they did. It's what they always seem to do, and they need to tell stories. They need to get people invested in new characters. It's unreal that they're still trying the shit, and then you're like, well, it works, right? Because the connective tissue between all of those tweets that were read out, nobody's talking about the writing.
Nope.
They keep talking about what they recognize.
Yep.
You saw it in the clips. It's Red. It's Vader. It's Anakin. It's the Clone Wars. Did you see the tweet that was like, in 2008, I was a kid watching it, and now I'm an adult watching it? It's like, what do you think you're saying? Like, what? It's not anything.
What do you like about it? Where's the, because there's no substance. You're right. Like, we're looking at lightsaber colors. It's sad, really. And I'll go back to One Piece, which is the best characterization I've seen in a show. And listen, I understand that they have like tons of source material that they're breaking down, and I can't reference that at all. But as somebody who just went in cold, I understood everything very quickly.
There's no member berries for us with that. There's no references. Nope. There's no like, oh, I recognize that character. I was taking it all brand new, and I was like, I like these guys. They're cool.
Is fun. This is really fun. I like these. They seem like real characters that I want to root for like immediately, and it wasn't done in a it was done in a simple way, but not a superficial way. It was done perfectly between some, a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of exposition, but then showing you things. And the way they dealt with the flashbacks and built it throughout this whole series, you now know everybody. And it was perfectly done. And there's no excuse why Disney can't do this other than they don't know what they're doing. They just simply don't know what they're doing. So they imprint. This is where the message and agenda gets imprinted on to make up for the lack of creativity. Because if you had this full dense world, you wouldn't need to do any of that shit. Any kind of messages you spin in will be done naturally through characters that are interesting and storylines that are interesting, but they don't even take an interest in it. It's like they just wanted to produce a bunch of Star Wars and not put any fucking effort in it, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and I'm willing to believe that Filoni had quite a bit of control on this, because I wasn't kidding in the video. Take out all of the Hera scenes, take out all of the landscape shots, take out all of the walking, and then strip it down in the Anakin and Ahsoka scenes to the back and forths they have, and it's like, holy shit, we have about 2 minutes of episode.
Yep,
like that's all that's left. It's
oh my god, and that's just that's like on brand for Disney for everything they do too. Like this is what they have in common with Marvel as well. Star Wars is a little worse at it. Like Marvel will at least they won't have long pauses between conversation, but like nothing happens in like Moon Knight. Like nothing fucking happens for most of that series, and it's really short. Secret Invasion, nothing happens for most of that series. It's a lot of sitting around and talking.
Conversation Luffy and Zoro have when they first meet is more interesting than basically any conversation in any Disney Star Wars TV show.
Yep. Get lost.
Two characters I'd met that day. Listening, I knew what their values were, and then I was just like, I'm not going to join your team. It's like, that's fine. I'm still going to free you.
Yep.
You close this for me when I go down. I was just like, yeah.
I can't wait to review it, man. I'm looking so forward to it. I don't care if nobody watches it. I'm back. I've got all my editing stuff, and now I can get to it tomorrow. I can't wait. I can't wait to sit down and watch it with my kid, because I'm going to do my note taking with him. I'm going to make him watch the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened up my box of One Piece, which is, I have so much stuff. Like a One Piece starter kit, but it's so much. It's unbelievable. It's rad too. I'm like, yes.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's the kind of thing I was trying to touch on it at the end of the video, but if Buffy were to be brought back, or season 8 came along, like I would expect them to have her in like the opening scenes, stake a vampire and be like, I'm Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
And you are? And I'd be like, oh.
Well, they are doing a sequel of sorts, audio adventure. I know you're all for it.
Yeah, that's something that when I found out that you got James Marsters, Anthony Stewart Head, Charisma Carpenter, several of you, I was just like,
Amber Benson,
stop making it seem like it's actually a thing. Get away. It's gonna be awful. There's no Buffy without Whedon. I'm sorry, that's just how that works.
In the story, they got the guy who did the Chaos Bleeds video game. Remember that?
I mean, I don't know.
That's
I
freaking old.
I would have thought anyone else remembered that.
It's 20, I think a little under 20 years ago when that came out. Yeah, the guy who wrote that. Not excited about it, no. Especially Charisma Carpenter after like
I was still tweeting about how like it fixes, it like justifies the damage that was done to Cordelia, and I was like, I seriously doubt that they're gonna like what season 4 Angel is gonna get rectified in the new season of Buffy, the audio adventures.
The audio adventures? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, there is no way Buffy, like in a world where Joss isn't canceled, right, for being mean to people, basically, like he was a fucking hypocrite, a giant hypocrite.
Sure,
but as far as creating stuff, God, I was gonna send you a quote here. Who did it? It was IndieWire, I think. Had an article from an old quote from Age of Ultron where he warned against what Marvel's going through right now. He said, like, these movies still need to be standalone. You can like put little things in there to connect them, but you still need to have this standalone movie. And I was he basically fought with Kevin Feige throughout the whole thing. By the time it was over, they were both done with each other. And he was right. He was right. So as a storyteller, this guy still pretty fucking good. So there's no way. I think there would be an audience for a Buffy, like if he brought the cast back together and he was in charge, but that's not a reality anymore. That will never happen.
Ever passed up Infinity War and Endgame, didn't he? Whedon was offered that first, and he gave it up. Imagine how shit the process must have been to give up what are going to be like the biggest movies ever.
Yep. And it must have. Well, I mean, that's why Edgar Wright walked away.
Yep.
Ultimately, that's where Jon Favreau walked away after Iron Man 2. So we had those problems, and that's Kevin Feige and Disney meddling.
When I feel like Favreau, like initially, because have you seen Chef?
Yes, I've seen Chef. It's good.
A lot of people think that Chef is about the process.
I think it is.
Marvel, which I think is really fair as an interpretation. In the same way that Guardians 3 is about what Marvel did to James Gunn, which I think is actually pretty apt as well. But with Favreau, he seemed like he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and then he was like, "All right, fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever you want, fine." Like he came back in because there's no like Lion King and Mando season 3. It's just like, what happened, man? It's like maybe he's not even relevant to the productions of these things.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I'm seeing now that Filoni's on his own with Ahsoka, I'm seeing a lot of Filoni in that stuff. I'm like, oh, maybe there's more Filoni than Favreau.
I legit don't get if Filoni has this much control, why did he like waste so much fucking time? Why doesn't he want more conversation with Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson? Why doesn't he want them to act? Why doesn't he want to push them to the point where they actually have to, express? Like, what's wrong? It was funny because Frankie was editing portions of this video and he was like, "Do you want any particular moments for the lack of expressions?" And I was like, "No, you'll find them everywhere."
Yeah, they're all over the place.
They're in every scene. They just don't fucking emote.
It's empty and meaningless, like Disney Star Wars. Hey, Gary, imagine if they made a show or a movie instead. Oh, I read that one already. Sorry. Let's go here. Idea: bring 8 to 12 comic books from the 1990s to the Marvel Universe land, Orlando. Show and talk about comics that matches the artwork around the land. I would do that. Actually, well, I guess I can do this publicly. Eric Stratton for $777. There is an item on eBay I want badly, but it's in Florida, and you can only pick it up in Florida. So I need to ask one of my Geeks and Gamer buddies if they can maybe go and pick it up for me, and maybe stash it at their house, and then I'll go pick it up. And what I'll do is I'll drag my kid because I wanted to take my kid to Marvel Land in Orlando, Universal Orlando Mauler. There's a Marvel Land that was done like back in the 90s, and they still own the license to it. But it's like the Spider-Man ride is like a Spider-Man the Animated Series ride. There's like a Doctor Doom ride. There's a Hulk ride, but it's like Marvel trapped in the 90s, and it's glorious. Everything about it is fucking rad. Marvel in its heyday, and they're probably going to lose that someday, and I just want to take my kid to it before they lose it. I would absolutely do that. Yes. And maybe I'll do it sooner than later if my Geeks and Gamers friends will go pick something up for me. Can't say what it is, though.
Having a thought about the whole, like, imagine it was true that this episode was amazing if you saw Rebels and Clone Wars. I still think that's really bad. Like, that possibly the most important episode to Ahsoka is something you have to see 2 other shows for. And I was trying to think of where I would accept it, and I was like, even in Angel season 5, there's some huge payoffs for Spike. Yes. And it's like, do they work if you haven't seen Buffy? And it's like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, yes, they do, because most of them are about Angel.
Yep.
His big thing was, overcoming being a ghost, being like attacked by Pavane, I think, in one of the other episodes. And then it's the whole thing with Destiny and Angel. And he explains like he fucking hates Angel because Angel turned him from a normal vampire into one of the worst in history. And that Angel only wanted that so that he wasn't alone in being like a monster. You don't need any of Buffy for that. That all works.
Mm-hmm.
And then by, do you remember the episode Damage where Spike has to come to terms with like, just because this girl wasn't one of the people you hurt doesn't mean, you're not at least partially responsible for all of the damage you did over your lifetime as a soulless vampire. Again, you don't need Buffy for that. It all works.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Go
did,
on.
you know, and like these huge payoffs and like character arcs and stuff is like, yeah, you don't have people saying, oh, bro, you just need to see 7 seasons of a different show, and then it'll be a good episode. It's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. And that's why episodic Buffy did work, because it was still episodic. You can jump in, like the whole point of it is back with episodic television is you can jump in at any point because you couldn't watch everything before, and you could still do that. By the way, I think that's it. Listen, prestige TV is something I like a lot when it works. I like the overarching story, but for things like Star Trek and even Star Wars, you don't need to do that. You can do episodic, and you'd be able to build more characters, build more of your world, build your audience through that. And that the fact that they just did away with that for everything has to have an overarching story, has to be told. Well, it's also done to save money and screw people over. There's a lot of factors into
Well,
it.
yeah, we've talked about this for a while, but all of these shows, they've just been setting up the next one.
Yep.
I'm like, wait till next time, guys, and then the big thing will happen.
And Star Wars is a cinematic franchise. It's supposed to be in theaters. It's not supposed to be episodic television. And it shows.
They really screwed the pooch on that one. They
did.
Annihilated their money printer.
Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Eddie Brock, 9043 for 249. I saw the trailer for Spider-Man 2. And I think if my thing with Miles is, as a character, I think he always should have been a Robin to Spider-Man. He should have been a sidekick for a couple of decades. And then maybe you could have gone like the Nightwing route with him. I think he would have really worked. You give him a different name. And have that mentorship, and I think there's a little of that going on in the game based on the trailer I saw. I don't know, I could be wrong. And that way they can both exist, but I mean, it doesn't talk to me in 80 years when Miles Morales has sold thousands of comic books and has seminal comic runs that are remembered throughout the history of comic books as some of the greatest. And then you can talk to me about him being Spider-Man. Until then, he's just a pretender like all the others. I know that bothers the whole thought experiment on Twitter, which we've discussed before, but I'm talking to the audience here, it's to point out, for one, I'm saying something that's true. Miles Morales is Miles Morales, but it's to point out why there's certain people on Twitter who need Miles Morales to be Spider-Man. It's like, why do you need that? Why can't you just like him for being Miles Morales? Oh, because he's not that much of a character. He's actually better portrayed in the films than he is in the comics.
Yeah, I haven't played the game either, the first, or I don't plan to play the second one, but maybe, I don't know. It's going to depend on what people say about it, I guess.
My kid loved the first one.
I want to play Lies of P. He plays Pinocchio killing people or something.
Oh, he does? Is that what Az was playing today?
Yeah, I would play it tomorrow probably, because been a little busy lately doing the whole like video making nonstop.
I played the amazing. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I can't remember if it was from the first movie. I think it was from the second movie. The Spider-Man movie games were fucking rad. They were so good.
Ones from Raimi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those ones are awesome.
Those games were unbelievable. God,
dude, did you play? Did you unlock Green Goblin and play through the campaign as him?
Yeah, well, my kid helped me.
That shit is amazing. You play all the Spider-Man levels as Green Goblin. One of the things I remember was fucking you go against Vulture and you just launch all of your missiles against Vulture. He just dies straight away.
My kid helped me a lot through all that.
Mm-hmm.
And Red Dead Redemption. So my game room's almost set up so I can play Lord of the Rings again, and maybe even Buffy Chaos Bleeds.
Mm-hmm. I've had people say they want me to stream that.
I think you should. I think you should.
Well, I probably would after I do some kind of coverage of Buffy, which it was fun talking about Buffy in that video. It's like letting off a bit of steam that's constant, because I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do it eventually. The thing about it is Buffy's possibly the most important piece of media to me, so I always want to I want to make sure I'm careful. It's daunting as a task to talk about it.
It is because It's what leveled television up. It's one of those series that like leveled everything about television up. So the prestige stuff that was good that we were getting, a lot of it was thanks to Buffy and Battlestar Galactica. The way they approach storytelling, both those shows changed everything.
Because like the
and
next
Angel.
era then was The Wire, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, and stuff. It's like everything we moved up again, and I feel like that era, by the way, began the shows looking good and never not looking good ever again. Like it's almost like par for the course. Every show is starting to look like the same in terms of you can reliably have decent cinematography every time. Like, you know, I'm not going to say Ahsoka looks like an ugly show. Everything is in focus and looks stylish and stuff. It's just I don't know, the writing, man. What happened?
I know. Hey, one of the most beautiful shows ever shot, True Detective season 1. Cary Fukunaga, I think his last name is. He did the last James Bond movie, but he directed all the episodes. It's a perfect. Have you ever seen True Detective season 1?
I did when it came out. I liked it a lot, but I need to rewatch it.
It's fucking brilliant. It's like absolutely brilliant storytelling. Are you making plans for the unsubscribed podcast? Well, I'm reading one that's not up there. I'm sorry. Rent out Skyview Terrace in Vegas next meetup and hire a bartender. Had my wedding there. David Nelson, 499. I will think about it, but Millennium Fandom Bar is getting a bigger building, and we're planning on doing it there. I gotta talk to my boy over there though. But that's in April. So am I making plans for the unsubscribed podcast? I said I'd be on Twitter. I'll see if X-Ray Girl followed up. But yeah, I would absolutely go on. Sure. Absolutely. Hey Gary, just started watching another episode of STD. I'm enjoying it. Not the best, but it's okay. Did you just start? It's some of the worst television I've ever seen. Def 81 for 5 British pounds. I don't know what to tell you. You're prepared to be disappointed if you're just starting out, because it's pretty bad. I really miss these streams, Gary, where it's just you solo. Oh, well, Mahler's here. Hello. Talking about life and what you like in pop culture news, just by yourself. Come on, Mahler's here. Butter biscuit for $5. That's mean. I'll do some...
I get it. No, I totally understand. When I stream solo every once in a while, people are like, yay, solo stream, because it's like direct with the audience. I get it.
Yeah. And I like doing it. I need to do it more. But the thing is, when you what things evolve, right? So my videos take a lot more work than they used to, like 3 or 4 years ago when I could do a nooner twice a week. They take a ton more work because I'm trying to, level up myself and bring you guys higher quality. And also, like anything I say, I have to double and triple and quadruple check and then have somebody else double, triple, and quadruple check it, because I kind of want to be as accurate as possible, even though 99% of my stuff is opinion. But when I'm stating something, it just takes a lot of work. So that's why I'm not live streaming as much, is because also I'm spending a little more time with my family. That kind of helps. Yeah. When will you guys on FNT breakdown do a breakdown on 1984? Oh, any day now. Well, if Mahler's gonna join, I have to super chat now. I know you both loved the One Piece live action. You owe it to yourself to watch the fan edit anime called One Piece. Cuts out all the filler. I'd watch it.
Yeah, that was mentioned on the catch up I did with Drinker. A couple people were saying the One Piece is better paced, is the argument. So
I'll watch it. I have the East Blue Blu-ray I'm gonna watch very soon. Binge model sucks. Had to skip live stream to finish One Piece to avoid spoilers. I loved it. Did you guys call anime Japanimation like we did as kids? Yes. We were calling it Japan. I was calling it Japanimation up until 20 years ago, maybe.
I don't think we ever did. Where I was at, we just called it anime since I can remember.
Well, I'm a little older with it. So back in the 90s, we called it Japanimation. that's what everybody called
I was
it.
watching some anime in the 90s, 99. That still counts, right? It was mainly Studio Ghibli and stuff, but yeah.
Yep. Dan Richards, thanks for the 5 Canadian pesos. Sir Neo Strife for $50. 50. Mahler, awesome video, and it was. It sadly depressed me seeing how bad Star Wars has become and now destroying my second favorite character, Anakin Darth Vader. As hard as I try, getting hard not to take the black pill and hate all of Star Wars because of Disney. It's difficult. I still love the original trilogy. That's they can't take
Absolutely,
that away.
yeah.
Can't take that away.
I mean, you know, I still really like the prequels. I have shit tons of criticisms for them, but you know, and then I've famously defended Andor several times. Even we talked about it before, but the examples I always give are Andor, House of the Dragon, and Picard season 3. When they show up, we point them out. It's just of course, if we find out the next 5 things from Disney are all going to be like controlled by Favreau, Filoni, or whoever else, it's just like, well, sorry guys, I don't think this one's going to be good.
Nope. I'm down on the prequels. Disney Star Wars has made them look better. It doesn't make them good. But I completely understand that it and acknowledge that it captured another generation of kids, which was at the time when I was watching them was unthinkable, but they managed to do it. Mad respect. They tried to fix it what they could with the Clone Wars. Tartakovsky's Clone Wars are far superior. I think those are magnificent. I love watching them. That was my favorite part of that entire era was the Tartakovsky Clone Wars. They're so fucking good.
I think an important difference you could kind of line up is that they remember burying the hell out of the prequel era, right? We've seen it, you know, and to be fair, anyone who thinks they're done with it, like Mace Windu is probably coming back. Just give it another few years or whatever. They will never be able to member bury Finn, Rey, or Poe. They can't. You can't jangle them in front of someone. It's like, what are they gonna do? Just be like, oh yeah, those fuckers. Like people forgot about them. Don't care about them.
No, they're already. And I doubt a Rey movie will happen. I just highly doubt it. I know I'm not alone there, but
I feel like it's just the kind of stupid decision they would make. That's why I believe it's going to happen. Because it's like, yeah, of course they would.
We'll show you guys. We'll show you haters. We'll lose more money than you could possibly imagine. And then, you know, Valiant Renegade has been talking about this, and like just to, you know, he's found the actual evidence. I was going off a hearsay, right? But when Rise of Skywalker came out, I was getting emails saying this thing costs so much money, and the guy threw out a number $500 million. And now it looks like that's how much it cost. Like they made no money on that. No. And if they did, it's like a bag of potato chips or crisps, as you call them.
It killed the Star Wars over after that. They were like, what the fuck are we doing? And they managed to you know, build some goodwill with Mando, and all that's gone now.
Yep.
That 3rd season, nobody wants any more Mando. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
The fuck?
Nope. Gina's laughing her ass off, and good for her. Good for her. Just on a side note, because I brought up crisps. The crisps at Clarkson's Farm are so good. They're so fucking good. Had some with Az over at his house. We shared a bag of crisps.
He is awesome.
Super gay. So thank you again, Sir Neon Strife. By the way, it was a really fucking good video. So please go watch it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I can tell. Yeah, you were inspired.
I was a bit mad.
Yep. Shout out to Jay today. He single-handedly held the Magic Kingdom hostage. Y'all need to step it up and fight against Disney. Well, you know, Jay had it closed down. He, you know, because you know, a bear shut down the Magic Kingdom today.
Oh,
there was a bear, and it was Jay. But as I mentioned in Geeks and Gamers Daily today, there's a lot of bears at Disney. They're just dressed as princesses right now, as a princess.
No,
a lot of bears. The bears can smell the menstruation. Hail to the Fellowship 199. Welcome back. Big love. Last time I was in Paris, I had a fight with a waiter. Didn't last long. His neck was thin. Hands were slight. Smelled like cabbage. Spoke with a French lisp. Says a nail worth $5,000 for $10. I didn't get in an argument with it. They weren't rude. I didn't find them very rude. I didn't talk to a ton of them. But the best meal I had there was a street meal. We there was a place that sold hot dogs and crepes. So we got a hot dog and a crepe, and it was fucking great. And you know what? I had some street meal in London, right outside the London Eye. I was looking for the Nestine Consciousness.
The London Eye of Sion?
The Eye of Sion. Yes. It's a warp engine. A little short woman with her arms behind her back going, yes, we will go to Thrawn in the final episode. We will slowly find Thrawn.
So exciting. He's blue.
He's blue. And I had a deep fried sausage. It was fucking great. It's fucking awesome. Sounds really gay, but that's what it was. Dad Master 21 for $2. I just spent 20 super chat on FNT that never got read. Don't worry, it'll get read in a bit. Did you just spend it, or I sent it? That's why we do the square ups. Dab Master. That's why I'm here. To be fair, reactors acting is still more emotion than the cast. That is true.
It's true.
A trace for $5. That is a fact. I'm not going to argue with you at all. At least they showed like it's fake emotion, but it's emotion. Their face is moved into what could be construed as a facial expression.
Yeah, they're trying to convince their audience it's real, so they are acting. They're doing it.
They are acting.
Look at them
You're
go.
right. And they are more entertaining to watch than the actual show. I'll say that too. Japanese Demon Lord sent you an email. Hope you enjoy it. I will check it. I've been up since 7, but I haven't done much. I'm like, I got to do something today, so I'll stream. That and it's red. Yeah, Robert, that was. It's red. It's red.
You want to pause time and space, pull her out of her little life of like whatever she's in, whatever she's doing, just ask her some questions. Be like, what does that tell you? What does it being red tell you? And I have to imagine she'd say, well, red's evil. Okay.
It's evil.
Is there anything else?
Yep.
Red bad? Okay. That's great. Okay. Never mind. It's fine. We'll move on. Because this is the thing. When we do any of our streams, we do these like dives into the history of how the people got to where they are, either meta or all the characters. Talk about all this different stuff. I think it's more likely that we would talk about how lightsaber color should not like denote the ideology of the person holding the fucking thing. That sounds like insane and cringe, and that there should be all kinds of interesting ways to mess with that and move it on stuff. But these people are literally like, Anakin is good, but he's got a bad lightsaber.
And Ray's got the orange one. Is it good on some days and bad on the others? I don't know. Hey, let's see. Where are you? If you're still in the chat, Dabmaster 21. Was it sent was it last week or this week? Was it last week or this week? I'm looking for it right now on our list so I can read it. Give me just a second. I did it. Wait, nope, that's not it. Do you have no, it wouldn't be. Yeah, I don't see it on the list. I don't see it on the list. But let me know and I'll find it. I'll find it. I will find it. Sorry about that.
I will find it.
Boomer. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a boomer. I'm not going to deny that.
Dude, you're Vadering.
I'm Vadering. So Vadering. Hi, Gary. I just wanted to say hello. This is the Ginger Menace for $20. What's up, Mary? I hope you're doing well, and I'm sorry you know what I'm referring to. Wasn't she in Mandalorian? I thought she was the one who fought him in her garden. Am I thinking of somebody else? Are you talking about like Morgan?
Yeah, she was in Mando season 2, episode 5. They had Michael Biehn worked for her. He had a shotgun. He just got killed randomly. Well, I say randomly. He got killed against Mando, but like I guess what I'm saying is like, okay, that was fun. I guess that's gone now.
Yeah, it is.
That was like the first shotgun we'd seen as well in Star Wars, which is the one weapon Rags has wanted to see Eddie would use against a Jedi to see what happens.
Yes, that's true, and it's okay. It's okay, Mary. It's okay. Mahler's video helped me get an idea for a story I've been thinking of making. See, you're inspiring people. Thank you for the $5.
It's awesome to hear, and thank you for letting me know.
Nizanik, thank you. You, me. Oh, what, dude? This is. I don't know about you, but StreamYards. There, dude. Everything like, it's working so shitty right now. I don't know if it might be Chrome. Maybe I should go back to Firefox. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if you highlight super chats, but there's like a big delay now. It's weird. You mean the movies for $10? Have you seen Charlie Hopkins deep fake reactions? Great stuff with Qui-Gon reacting to people living through lightsaber blows that did him in. Highly recommend this stuff. I've seen it. I haven't seen that video.
Some of it, yeah. Doesn't he do like awesome. Obi-Wan and Gandalf and other stuff like that?
Yeah, he did. He does a good job. Did you see Overlord DVD's latest Star Wars video? Dire Star Wars video. I did not. Liam John Smith for $1.99, but I saw Mahler's video. Thank you for the $1.99 though. Lean back, have a snack, take a nap for $20. Says, I didn't watch any TNG before enjoying the heck out of First Contact. Never had to ask anyone who anybody was, what the Borg wanted, because they actually wrote a decent script and told the audience along the way. Yeah, you can watch that, kind of figure it out. They reminded you. They didn't assume everybody watched the entire series. A lot of people don't like that movie. I'm fine with it. I am fine with it. Action Picard. It's the only I'll be right back. I just Vadered into Ahsoka sock cleanup time.
Faded.
Oh no. 38 seconds. I've never seen Revenge of the Sith. I said I could not be bothered as I knew the ending and episode 1 and 2 were bad. Could not be bothered to watch the Clone Wars. Have not watched any of the cartoons. 7 was rehash of 4, so I didn't watch 8 and 9. You saved yourself a ton of time, Josh.
Yeah.
Josh, thank you for the $19.99. You saved yourself a ton of time. And hi, Gary. How did you like the tyrannical utopia called the UK? I was fine. I wouldn't want to live there. Your government's a little kooky.
Yeah, a little bit.
Zednek, is it Tomes? For 100 Czechoslovakian pesos. Yeah, it was. I mean, the UK has always been bureaucratic. That's no secret. But the variable speeds on your freeways and stuff, that's some whack shit. I mean, we have, speed limits, by the way, it's variable speed limits. We in America, we drive basically really fast unless there's a cop around. Then we'll slow down. But for the most part, we drive pretty fucking fast and crazy. But there's not variable speed limits based on your car. That's some crazy shit. That's un-American. I can't wait for the spoiler thoughts on One Piece. It says Cami Anime S Gaming for $1.99. That's right there. That's my boy. That's my boy who sent me like the anime starter pack. He's fucking awesome. Got to meet you in, was it, God dang it, I'm messing up was it Dallas or Houston? One of the two. But thanks. And dude, I can't wait to break that. That's going to be a labor of love. A labor of love. And I get to watch it one more time. You might have heard. I've watched it 3 times all the way through. So I watched it. The plane ride made it easy. Wells has Peter inherit the sins of the Green Goblin and dons the cloth version of the black suit. Stupid idea, but I'm a sucker for the black suit. I love the black suit, Eddie. I do. But how do you inherit this? That's fucking retarded. That's just retarded.
Inherit the sins. Yeah, I don't know.
Mahler, I suggest playing KOTOR games. I think you would take a liking to Kreia Darth Treya. I don't play KOTOR, so sorry, I'm retarded with that.
Because everyone recommends it as some of the best Star Wars storytelling there is, so I will get around to it someday.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to love it. A very fascinating character. The gameplay is dated, though.
Not surprising. It's a bit old, but that's okay.
Mahler, have you ever seen the video Dave talking about the Maul and Qui-Gon fight? It's a couple of minutes long video. I want to see what you think.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with it. The greater point being that Duel of the Fates refers to whether or not Qui-Gon will live in that fight, because if he did, Anakin's fate wouldn't have been to become Darth Vader, because Qui-Gon would have been a more suitable master. And the fates are like, it's a battle of fates in that scene. Yeah, I don't mind that interpretation. Like I said, there's loads of things I actually like about the prequels. The Darth Maul fight with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, the choreography is pretty fucking baller. Like, and it's quick. And man, those guys, I'm pretty sure they're sweating for real.
Yeah, I mean, the lightsaber work in the prequels is fucking great. Like, especially Phantom Menace. That lightsaber duel is fucking awesome. The music's awesome. Everything about it's awesome. Like, that's undeniable. It's just surrounded by. I never wanted to see baby Darth Vader. Nobody ever wanted. I still don't. I think that takes away a lot of mystery. I think Revenge of the Sith should have been the trilogy. That's it.
And I guess the reason they're bringing that up, though, is that that's an insightful thing that Dave said. And it's like, so what happened? Maybe. And it's like, I got no answer to you.
Well, who was it? I was watching Midnight's Edge in the morning. Somebody brought it up. Sorry, I'm not giving you credit because I forgot. One of the guys there made a good point. A script doctor. He said, well, even in the prequels, we don't really know, like, we just know Palpatine wants power, but we don't know anything about his past. We know nothing about him. Zero. He just wants absolute power.
Yeah.
Why? What's the deal? A little characterization on Palpatine would have probably been nice. Yeah, I don't need every detail. I don't need to know he was beaten by his father or bullshit like that, but just a little more, Oh, it's in a comics in a book. Yeah, that you failed if you need to do that. If RDJ comes back in Secret Wars, will it be another Endgame? Love the streams, Gary. Stephen Jordan, no. That ship has sailed. It'll it could be a Flash or it could be a No Way Home. I'm not sure. But it'll be a bunch of floaty heads on mocap suits.
Yeah.
So at this point, if I was Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., I'd just say no. I'd just say, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Venture Brothers movie? I have. It's out, and I want you to force Mahler into the show and review the new movie. Well, I've got to. I have to watch Arcane, and then I might have some ground to stand on to force both you and Drinker, and pretty much all your pals into watching Venture Brothers. If you like,
I think Rags has seen it.
Okay, if Rags, okay, he seems like the kind of person to watch it. That's by the way the highest form of compliment. I think you'd love it because like Futurama, it seems silly, but there's great character work, emotional depth in this silly fucking show. That's one of the best written shows I've ever seen. Wish it would have gotten a season 8 instead of a final movie, but it was something, and it does end the story, and it does it in a pretty satisfying way. Wasn't as great as I thought it would be, but I still liked it, and we will do a full live stream on it. Also, it makes me sad that they made Thrawn some mythical empire one button when he was a brilliant strategist, but came from the other side of the galaxy. He was the heir to the empire, though through sheer strategy. Yes, he wasn't some superpowered being.
I think I can't remember if it was a stream with you as someone talking about this, but I hate how much of the real world bleeds into these stories. Like the fan service, like sort of feels like it's actually like in universe. It's like Thrawn should have a reputation as a tactician, not as the awesome character that's going to make the show better. Like once we find him,
right? No, it won't. And Stregobor, it's Lars Mikkelsen, right? Who's playing him? Who played Stregobor in Witcher? One of the Mickelsons. I don't know how many there are now.
Yeah, there's a few.
Gary's best stream was the last one. He turned off his camera around 5 minutes in and did not realize it. Well, my camera went off. My camera went off. There's a difference between turning it off and it going off. But thank you, RK, for $5 for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Taker 610 for $2. Mahler made a video less than an hour long. Oh my God. I know.
That is one of the more common things I've been seeing people say, like, the fuck's wrong with you? It's under an hour. I'm like, I'm sorry. I tried.
They take a little less time to make. That's I got an old classic legacy of Kian playthrough. I got is it C? Oh no, it's Kian. I don't know what that is. Tevin Daniels, even though I am a famous gamer. Stefan Harold for 50. Danish Krona says, imagine a Disney Star Wars show the quality of True Detective season 1. Be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Forgot to for Vader. That's all you need. Just Vader all over the place.
Oh my God. Well, you know that's what they're going to do, right? They're going to make because they had a very successful Darth Vader. When Marvel got Star Wars back, they did a Darth Vader comic that was pretty successful. So you know they're going to make do a Darth Vader series.
Oh, they seeing this reaction and engagement that's vaguely like stronger than, you know, barely anybody talked about Secret Invasion, but everyone's like, oh my God, Anakin. It's like, Aiden, are you interested in playing Anakin for a whole season of television? You'd probably be like, hell yes, absolutely.
He'll do it. Absolutely.
It's the same thing with Ewan McGregor coming back as Obi-Wan. It's like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then they did that, and you're like, oh,
yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe they could bring Reva back, and Reva can lead around Darth Vader after leading around Obi-Wan. Forgot to give a salute to Alexander Daddario.
Alexandria Daddario, yeah.
Alexandria Daddario.
She's she's pretty great in True Detective season 1.
Oh yes, okay. I was like, what?
She's got an excellent role.
I didn't know the name, but Steven, hell yeah. That show was so fucking. I reviewed it many years ago. I had when I was doing TV reviews, and all the subsequent seasons. I guess there's another one coming out, or I could care less. Woody Harrelson was fucking great in that. Matthew McConaughey, probably his best performance. That's saying something. It's so fucking good. Oh my God, you guys. I'm not going to get to the square up. You guys are being very generous.
It's one of those streams where you do a catch up and then you can't even catch up with the stream.
I can't even catch up with the catch up. You guys are awesome. What if there's no canon to Star Wars? Well, there isn't. Andre C28 for $9.99. There's no what if. There's no canon to Star Wars now.
It's been blasted apart in so many pieces.
Mahler, did we ever get an update on the really depressed guy in Drinker's stream a couple of weeks back? Oh, we did. Gary, we need cooler member badges, please. Oh, I'll get on that. I'll get X-Ray Girl on that. Barton Bella. Yes, the guy who came into your guys' stream and talked about self-deleting. Drinker did do a post, right, saying that
yeah, he said it was resolved. It had a positive ending. So
yeah. You know, it's tough when you hear that stuff, but I'm glad like he said something. That guy said something, because that's asking for help, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Drinker, you know, followed through on that, did the right thing, and the guy's okay. And that's the important part. That's all the important part, that he's okay. And hopefully he's getting help. Yeah, I've lost a couple of friends to that. It's not fun. Grace saying he Vadered is Pete Grace. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I will say, when I involving her in the video, I was like, you know, it feels right. Grace is such a wonderful representation of portions of the fan base.
And criticism of film, which she is free to do, by the way. I'm glad she's on the platform. Never want her to go away. Congratulations to all the success. I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand everything. Practical Flumbo for $10 is Mahler. After watching the segment analyzing the weight of the world, I'm going to need you to take on normal again. Also, hi Gary.
Normal Again is the episode in season 6 where she's stabbed by a demon poisoned, and she believes she's in a mental hospital.
Yes.
But the episode leaves it vague as to whether or not that was actually what was happening or not.
Such a great episode.
A lot of fans hate season 6. A lot of fans hate that episode. I am the opposite. I adore season 6, one of my favorite seasons of television, and I love that episode primarily because of her performance. She does an incredible job of convincing me that when she's faced with the idea that all of her life as the Slayer could actually be bullshit, and that she can get back to being with her mum and dad in a happy home, and that she for a moment there takes the opportunity. And it's only when all of her friends are screaming for help that she gets pulled back in. She can't do what she's going to do. And there's so many things that I adore what they do within that episode. The doctor, when he's speaking to her, he's like, you used to have grand adventures, you used to fight enormous demons, you used to fight these like Frankenstein monsters of cyborgs, and so you fought a god. Who are you fighting now? 3 nerds? It's like your world's falling apart. Dawn was added in. What's that about? She wasn't a thing before. She was like retro continuity. Like, you've added her to try and maintain the psychosis. And I was just like, oh my god. Like, they're using like the meta of the writing to argue that it's bullshit and that she's insane. I was like, that's really cool and interesting. And they say that when she died in season 5, what was happening in the real world is they pulled her out of her psychosis temporarily, but then she was brought back in, and this is the one breakthrough that they've had. And you were convinced, I think, as a viewer, that it is bullshit. It was the demon. It's made of the nerds trying to fuck with her. But then they have the end of the episode, the lasting shot of the doctor putting the torch in her eyes and saying, "Sorry, we've lost her." And I was just like,
"Oh, so good."
Yeah, I love the episode, but I think it's really hate any episode in season 6. I love them all.
Yeah, I don't hate any Buffy episode. There's better and there's worse.
Remember Go Fish?
I do remember Go Fish. And
I
I watched it.
It's so fucking dumb.
I watched it recently, and it's dumb, but I don't fucking hate it as much as I hate everything I've watched the last 2 years. I'm like, it's fine.
I can't, like, isn't it like there was Russian experiments, and the local coach in their school got access to it, and he gave it to the team. They turned into fish people.
Yep.
But then they just swim away at the end.
And they swim away at the end, never to be heard from again. Brightest Day audiobooks for $5. Disney Star Wars is really good at making sure anything or character I might have been interested in doesn't last for more than 1.5 seasons. This is true. Rick Johnson for $2 says, Gary, did you watch the Star Wars 4Ks I sent you? I am saving them to watch them with Junior because I was sent the despecialized editions in 4K.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby. But thank you. They're in my ever-growing. So when I moved, I kind of got rid of a lot of my physical media over, and I really regretted it. So I've been slowly rebuilding it to its former glory, and it's getting there. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I like having, and it's because of sound. I like it because they're going to start editing stuff, but like sound is really important. My wife spent a lot of money on her home theater for my birthday present because she's awesome, by the way. And yeah, you just don't get the sound on a disc is 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. You know what's cool about my wife too? We have this huge living room now, which, remember, I came from a house that was 1,200 square feet and 4 people live there for 18 years. Okay. So it was tight. And now we have this nice big living room we call the Grand Hall. And over our wet bar is kind of my home theater's upstairs. So I'm trying to paint a picture here. And there's a little blank space of wall that's over our wet bar that's in the Great Hall that you can see into our home theater from downstairs. And I'm like, so I got this Return of the King, vinyl banner that's 3 foot by 5 foot wide that I was going to hang on the ceiling in here. And she's like, oh no, you should put that in the living room. And I'm like, you're the best. It's going to be great. I'll show you a picture when I hang it up.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Behind on stream delivering mail. Oh, good. Says Butterbiscuit92. When I said that super chat, Mahler wasn't here, so apologies to Mahler. It wasn't a shot at him. We didn't take it that way. Hey, every time I'm on open bar, there's always a why is Nerdrotic here? He sucks. You know, it's like it's part of the gig. It's okay. People can think I suck. It's all right.
I think if there's not people who hate you, then you're probably the most boring person. It's like
Right?
I don't know anybody that I think is awesome that isn't hated by someone.
Right? I mean, who's universally loved?
Jeebus.
Not Dave Filoni, the new Jeebus.
He's Vadering everywhere.
Yep. How far is Disney away from making a Palpatine or Yoda Origins movie or TV series? It's already been talked. You know, it's been talked about already. Do you think they will go that far? Cornelius Brunis for $5. Brunius. I always mess up your last name there. Sorry. They are going to remake the original trilogy and the prequels. There's no doubt about it.
I heard you talking about it, and you're saying like they can actually have Hayden play Vader. And fans will be like, "That's amazing!" I'm gonna be like, "Guys, this is gonna be so horrible. Why would you ever?" Oh.
Leslie Jones is Han Solo. Can't wait for it. Danger Dad for $10. Filoni was a storyboard artist until he started writing for Star Wars. Of course, the episodes are long shots of backwards visuals, etc. It's all he's capable of. He's not capable of telling a story or directing actors. That's for sure. Epic Fantasy for $20 Australian. Hail, Gary. Want to get the word out about our game Epic Fantasy RPG, the non-woke D&D, supported by streamers and now on an animated series. So Epic Fantasy RPG from Epic Fantasy. That sounds brilliant. This is what happens when you go woke. People will just find other ways to entertain themselves, and they'll do it themselves, which is the best way. I'll send it again, LOL. Feeling generous. The soup was if Ahsoka. I'm sorry, Dab Master. You did not have to send it here. Email me. I can refund you. I don't want you to have to send it again. The soup. If Ahsoka crashed into Mustafar in season 7 and got killed by Anakin before his fight with Obi-Wan, would explain Anakin's tears in Return of the Revenge of the Sith. Perfect ending for her character. It would have been. If she died, her character would have actually meant something. Like, I probably would have cared about her. I don't care about her at all now.
There's something I'm not sure how many people are fully aware of, and I'm not going to make a claim about exactly what percentage of the fan base is this way, but there are a lot of people who are fans of Star Wars who have no fucking clue who Ahsoka is.
No, they don't, because she didn't show up she wasn't mentioned at all in the prequels.
It's awkward, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, how could you have Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and there's no mention of her at all?
It might have been a good idea to actually put her in the prequels and give Anakin a Padawan. I think that would have been great. But no. Nope. Dab Master 21, thank you for the 20. I didn't mean to sound ungrateful about that. I just didn't want you to have to do it twice, man. Thanks, brother. Julio XS. I'm saying that wrong. Sorry, Julio. For $10. Mahler, I suggest reading Superman Kingdom Come, an older Superman who abandoned his role. Well, it's called Kingdom Come, where he abandoned his role as a hero and went into exile. Unlike a grumpy space wizard, he rises to the challenge and when things are dire. Yes.
I'm sure that's a much better. This is the thing. It's kind of deconstructions, right? Like, they're not universally hated usually. There's a lot of ways you can do it well.
Yeah, it's Kingdom Come is a classic story. Is Mark Waid and Alex Ross, and basically the new generation of superheroes came up, and they're a lot more wily. And one accidentally kills a bunch of people, and Superman has to go take care of business and gets pulled out of retirement. Imagine the long man admitting not to trying something because it's too long. We did it, One Piece fans. We broke him. This is a mask off moment, says Gleeman for $10.
I will say, it's like you have like a hierarchy in your own head of what things you're gonna watch, and right now Farscape is my like filled in TV show.
Yeah.
So, like and then when I'm like, oh, could it be One Piece at some point? It's like, oh, it's a long time with one show, and I got so many I need to watch and rewatch. It's about time I rewatch Buffy and Angel, to be honest with you. It's been a while.
Yeah, catch up to me.
I've been rewatching a couple of individual episodes with Fringy. Angel season 5. Oh, I fucking love that season so much.
Hey, you could you send me a list? Because as soon as we're done with season 3, we're gonna start doing the Angel thing, and we're gonna watch it. And you said there's an order we can watch it in. I'd love.
Yeah, I've got a link. I've got it bookmarked. It's just what I used to use when I was going through the show with people. So I'll drop it in our little.
I want to use what you use.
That's what I use.
Good. That's what I want to use.
That's in the chat. If you click it, scroll down, it gives you a list of like season 1, 2, 3, and then it starts to intertwine them. But the important parts are what's in red. Those are the ones that you need to watch in those orders for the story to make the most sense.
Awesome. Oh, this is perfect. I'm going to put it in my Discord.
The point of it being red, of course, is that if they're not red, you can mix and match however you want to watch them in.
Okay. Because, I mean, we just watched them in the order they came out that week.
For anyone listening who's like, I want whatever you're talking about, this is called The Watchers Council, a Viewer's Guide for the TV show and movies of Joss Whedon. It's josswhedon.blogspot.com.
Well, you have a wrench. You can put the link in there if you want.
Oh, okay.
Or I can.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, I think it's a Chrome. I think Chrome is jacked.
I didn't write the order, but I've used it a few times, and it works out pretty well. I think there's only one thing I would change about it myself, but it's more of a personal preference. There are some episodes where like this list will tell you to move over, and I'll be like, some of them are like, finish out the season because the story's going, sort of thing, instead of switching back and forth.
It's like Song of Ice and Fire with Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. I think there's a Feast for Dragons, and then there's a Boiled Leather version. There's two different versions where because Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons were one book that he split up. So it puts the chapters in order, and it does make it a lot better, to be honest with you. Because Feast for Crows, it's like half a good book, but it's a bunch of characters that like you didn't give a shit. Like, they go on some side quests that are fucking nuts. But if you read the whole thing all together, if you're still into it, it's pretty good.
So someone would say, didn't Joss Whedon ruin Alien Resurrection? It's like, yeah, yeah. I think this is the thing. Joss Whedon writes badly here and there too. He's
yes, he does.
Perfect.
He does. Thrawn is the Colonel Kurtz of Ahsoka. Won't know till the end. And here comes Ahsoka on a patrol boat up the Nung River. 199. Except if they did a Star Wars version of Apocalypse Now, that'd be fucking rad. But Heart of Darkness. Cole Hauser for 5, but this will not be it. Ahsoka wakes up. She's all Coruscant. Shit. Sorry. Imagine the long man. Oh, I read that one. Guys, what are your thoughts on the rumor of Nolan making Bond movies? That'd be fucking rad.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
It'd be fucking amazing. Since The Witcher was trash and Elric show might be on the chopping block. Also, we need Jar Jar Bounty Hunter show. We need an Elric show, but done in a different time. But an Elric show would be insane. Fucking insane, because it's such a brilliantly thought out world. And it's not phone book fantasy. It's like very readable. It's like Conan. You just read it pretty quick.
Let's go pure chaos. Let's make that Jar Jar Binks movie for Star Wars. $300 million budget. Give it to Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
Let's do it.
It'd probably be good.
It probably would be good.
And he'd probably take the extra 200 million he had and pocketed it because he wouldn't need that much. I'm watching Ahsoka, checking out Shin Hati on the Hera butt. Well, Hera's got a nice ass. Okay. But that, doesn't make the show good. I don't think that the showrunner's intention either way. Thanks, Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Hera ass. There is. Just watch Mahler's new video. It was logical and brilliantly done. Hail to the fellowship, says OMG. It's Anthony for $5. There you go. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Graph Web for $2. And Zednek Tomes for 50 Czechoslovakian pesos. Did you guys see Nefarious? I haven't seen Nefarious yet. And I will. I think it really shows how arrogant humanity has become and how Hollywood occult beliefs endanger us all. I think their divisiveness endangers us, which is their belief, I guess. Get your super chats for nothing and your chicks for free, says WG. There you go. Rick Johnson for $2. The 4Ks I sent you are unaltered 4K scans. Oh, beautiful. Yes. And they, dude, fucking packaged perfectly, by the way. They are prominent in my collection. Thank you again, Rick. I appreciate it. Oh, new drinker vid on why modern movies suck. Was there a new drinker? Well, it's Monday, right? He releases videos on Monday. I'll have to watch it. Yeah, I'm going to do a One Piece review. Screw it.
Do it.
I've already, I'm sure I'll do another Hollywood strike video in the next 3 weeks or so, but when some new stuff comes up and the strike will still be going on. But other than that, yeah, the only thing I want to talk about is One Piece. Oh, I'm going to do an Ahsoka review. I told you that in the message. When it's over, when it's all over, I will do one more. I've got a couple things to say, but I just want to see it play out.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind of right about the Adult Swim Superman show. It started up normally, and then they introduced the Council of Lois's. Yeah, fuck that show. Fantastic Mr. Knox for $5 Australian. It's great to hear that the cast of One Piece gets paid more than She-Hulk cast, and at that point, Tatiana got jealous. Or Tatiana, sorry. Why did I say Tatiana? Tatiana got jealous and wants the same. LOL, Disney. Screw that. Yeah, Sonny Chiba's kid made more than supposedly. I don't know if that's true. And he deserved it because he was great. And he's Sonny Chiba's kid. That should just get you more money. He was really good, though. Zorro, the guy who plays Zorro. Really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Good stuff. I'll read some of the Square Up stuff. I can only go for 15 more minutes because of my kids going to the gym. So I'll do another one. I'm trying to think. Thursday. We'll do it Thursday at noon. Okay. Thursday at noon. And then you can, when you're done watching me, you can go watch Open Bar with Mahler and the Critical Drinker. You want to stay? We're 15 more minutes. Can you?
Sure, man.
15 more minutes. Okay. Cryptic for $5 says, I was the guy who was into comics and got my books pulled weekly, but stopped reading. I finally had to stop because the stories were garbage. So I made that analogy, Mahler, of, I had the customers at my shop who would get like giant stacks and they buy them every week. They're really good about it, but then they'd say, I never read this stuff. And it's probably, it's not the best business move, but we had a talk. It's like, are you sure you're still into comics? Like, do you like the collecting aspect? We'd have a talk and like, yeah, I didn't want these guys I didn't want to burn them out because eventually they were going to burn out. That's the thing is like, I'm going to lose this customer anyway. I don't want to just take his money. It probably makes me a stupid fucking businessman, whatever. But we had the talk. I did this with 5 or 6 people, right? Because they were good guys, right? And they just weren't into comics anymore. And it's okay. But like, don't buy, if it's a few comics here and there, but these guys were buying like $300-$400 stacks and it was taking a bunch of room. And then they'd end up just bringing them back to me. And some guys gave them to me, like wouldn't take my money. It was crazy. So, and they were really nice people, but that's what people are with Star Wars. Now, I think people just like the idea of Star Wars. I don't think they're into it. Yeah. I don't think they really get anything out of it. They just like the idea of it. John W78 for $2.99 British, just leaves it, doesn't say anything. Thank you. Berg Flicka for $10 says, Ryan has been so quiet. Shad, stand with your brother. Hail to the fellowship. Berg Flicka for $10. Ryan was, I don't know. Ryan seemed to talk as much as he usually does. I mean, there's fucking 9 of us there. It gets a little nuts, and it was really hard on the French internet, because usually I can kind of, weave in and out of the conversation, but I was like getting a little bit of a delay, so it was kind of hard. But the show must go on, folks. Gary and Melissa, enjoy the trip. Happy anniversary. Thank you, Alexander Ducasse, for $2. We did. Melissa was very happy we made it to Paris. And like just parts of it that are really clean and nice. We didn't go to any of the no-go zones, so I know they're there. But even in the quote-unquote hood part of London, it was not as bad as the hoods over here that I saw. Maybe I didn't see the worst one, but Gary is not Hunter posting crack on YouTube, FBI. No, I'm not. I'm not Hunter. I would not, even in as high as I was, I would never post any of it on YouTube. Rick Martell for $10. You guys are the best drugs that should never be taken. More, please. All right. And John W78 has donated 5 more British pounds. Thank you. Salty Sasquatch says, all of my Friday night tits in one place. The good, the bad, and the massive. This made sense when X-Ray Girl and Chrissy are all on the stream. Was Chrissy there? I can't remember. I'm just kidding. Love Chrissy. She had Drinker on the Simcast. Drinker was on the Simcast. Yeah. So Russell Brand, right? Going through some shit right now. I was in the UK Sunday, obviously at Heathrow, and all your fucking papers, dude, were just accused of rape, just over. And I know that's how the papers are, but when you walk in, it was kind of shocking to see his face and just rape next to every.
Yeah.
It's like, so I took a little video of it. And some guy, at least he gave me credit. He didn't Ian Miles Chong me. So there's props to this guy. I've never heard of him, but he shared it on Twitter, got a couple million views on it. I'm like, dang, I know how ass feels. But it's fine because he gave me credit. But that was crazy to see. That was absolutely nuts to see. And then, for one, he comes out and said there's a coordinated thing. And like, I don't know what the truth is. The guy said he was promiscuous, and his, he has a drugged up past.
Yeah.
So, but it looks pretty fucking coordinated to me. Plus, nobody.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, as with all of them, including Jonathan Majors, obviously, it's just like wait for their days in court.
Yep.
Don't do court of public opinion. I think we've learned at this point it's insane, and we often end up years later being like, "Wow, that was fucked up, wasn't it?"
Yeah, and like Jeremy said it this morning, I mean, the damage is done. Doesn't matter if he's guilty or not. And what he's probably guilty of is being an addict and getting high with other people. But did he commit a crime? Well, as Mueller just said, let's. But dude, we can't even trust courts right now. Everything's so politicized, and that's the whole. I mean, not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but that's what they being the new Bilderbergers, which are BlackRock and Vanguard, that's what they want. They want to destroy the system. They want to sow discontent into society so they can remake it the way they want to. And one way you do that is by doing scandalous shit to make people not trust institutions like voting in the court anymore, which is actually happening. So we need to be aware of this stuff. And this is why I say, grab a mic, do your thing. It doesn't have to talk about the culture war. You don't have to talk about anything, but the more of us that are here, the less likely it is to silence us. They're going to I hope he doesn't get taken out. I sincerely hope it's all bullshit and he doesn't get taken out. But if he does, there needs to be not just one person to take his place. There needs to be like 1,000. And that's how we fight this. By being honest, having honest people, being honest, being real, and having the balls to speak truth to power when it needs to be spoken. So that's why I always say, grab a mic, try it as a hobby. We need more voices. We need you because, like Mahler's not going to get taken out. I probably won't get taken out. I don't get that, I get into it, but not to the, not to the extent that Russell Brand was.
Like if they ban me, then I feel like a shit ton
We're
of people have been banned
fucked
already. Yeah.
Yeah, we're fucked. Or Salty Cracker, people like that. That's we need people to replace them, but Salty Cracker's still around, by the way, and Russell Brand's still around, but not on this platform for Salty. Because Henry Cavill is going to be in Warhammer 40K, I decided to get a few audiobooks. Shad read your book, not for me, but great discussions. I might not like it, but still highly recommend. There you go, Judah, for $10. Just being real. That's cool. I liked Ahsoka episode 5. Maybe I'm a 49-year-old outlier, says editor MG. I don't think you are. Ace 1589 2001 for $20. Usopp is based off the character Pinocchio, hence the long nose. Usopp name is from the Japanese word uso, which means liar. If any of our worlds nationally apply, Usopp would be an Italian or Sicilian. Oh, we were talking about Usopp being black. Right? Yeah, I didn't know if he was black or not in the original. So, was the character portrayed right, though? That's the thing. Is he supposed to be like Pinocchio? I thought he was a good enough character in the show. I thought he was good.
I think of the team, he's probably I'm least interested in him.
Least interested in, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, it still works. Still there. Still enjoys bouncing off for the characters and stuff.
Was it? I'm going to mispronounce his name. Who's the badass swordsman?
Zorro?
Dracul.
Oh.
Mihawk. Mihawk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him. That guy's fucking great.
I mean, yeah.
He's so ridiculously OP and it's fucking rad. Like everything about it's rad. But when
the fact that he respects, he's got that they did it with Thanos and Tony, right? Like everyone loves seeing that when someone who's super powerful is like, man, I like your zeal.
Yep.
Like makes him likable. Yeah.
I don't hunt a rabbit with a cannon. So good. Salty Sasquatch, thank you for the $10. Koale for 20. I believe I mentioned this on Tuesday night's main event, but One Piece LA is doing exactly what Rippa is saying. A good live action, lead people to anime, and then get them into the manga, and everybody wins. Yes, not everybody's going to get into the manga or anime, but you're going to get a huge push though. And that's all you need. You don't want everybody. You just want a percentage. And it's okay to have this. LA is live action, by the way. And I think they really captured kind of the goofiness of anime without going full anime. Okay. Because it's live action. You can't do it. There's certain things you can't, like Ahsoka is proving there's certain things you can't do, like having cartwheels in fucking space. Well, people are like, well, they did it in Clone Wars. And yeah, it looks like shit in live action. Looks fucking silly. There's certain things you have to, you can pull off an animation that you can't pull off in live action, or maybe you could if you had a more talented director and writer. Will Allen for $4.99 says, I found out I might have caught the coof. I feel fine, so I'm going to just say enjoy some FNT. Hail 199. Well, I hope you didn't get it. I don't know how I didn't get sick, Mahler. I don't know, because I was right next to Az while he was coming down with the flu the whole time, and neither Melissa or I got sick. And I came back to the hotel room like, I'm so getting sick now. I am so, and I didn't. So knock on wood.
Maybe it's delayed,
Maybe it's delayed. Maybe I told Az, I think it's just all the drugs I did in the 80s. Like no germs can survive in my system anymore. Taker 10 says there's a great One Piece parody on YouTube called Nun Piece. It's a parody of Luffy states that the whole body is rubber and then says, and before you ask, yes, it is. Luffy greater than Mr. Fantastic. Well, it is, obviously, if his whole body's rubber. Doesn't he? Well, I don't want to spoil it here. He gets married eventually. So why do guys have an issue with people liking Ahsoka? Lord Baratheon for $4.99.
It's pretty complicated. If you split it up, there's no issue with someone enjoying any particular piece
Yeah.
of media. It's the effects that will eventually have. We get more of this every time that everyone celebrates it for being great, and we just miss storytelling that has like characters in it. We want more of that. You saw it with One Piece. That's like we just said, it's like water in a desert. I'd love to be in a position where, and I noticed this. I was talking to Drink about this, and it was like I was watching Farscape, and I was like, I remember thinking to myself that this was a good show, but there was like weak episodes or weak parts that I didn't enjoy. Rewatching it, I was like, this is awesome. Why did I think that? And I was like, oh, because I was watching lots of good shows all at once. So it's like the scale changes. When you watch something like Ahsoka for a while, and then you go back and watch something like Futurama or Buffy or something like Farscape, you're like, holy shit, this is how they used to do it. Every episode is brimming with character. Every single time. I was saying to Drinker, right? This is an episode of Futurama where it just begins. Sorry, Farscape. There's a ship that's like on fire in the distance, and Dargo is like, we should loot it. And Zan is like, oh well, is there anyone we can take care of on there? And Aaron is like, we need to get the fuck out of here before peacekeepers arrive. And John is trying to figure out what's going on between the lot of them. I was just like, this is so structurally, again, just what I thought was normal, what I miss about TV writing. It's just like, look, scenario, all of our different characters pretty well react to it differently. They have conflict, and then the event has conflict, and then we resolve at the end, usually with some kind of lesson for one of the characters, something they didn't realize. Super simple, super normal, and it's all over One Piece. That's what One Piece does.
Yep. And One Piece is a streaming show, so all the excuses that Hollywood's been using on why Disney particularly is terrible doesn't really apply. It doesn't even apply for Netflix, which shit out Cowboy Bebop and Witcher and so many. They just, for one, the guy who created the guy who created One Piece is there and had a ton of power. I'm thinking when they bring a lot of showrunners, when they bring on the creators, it's a name only. Like this guy had actual power, made them reshoot stuff, and it shows. So, but to your point about Ahsoka, I agree with what you just said, Mahler. If somebody wants to enjoy it, that's fine. The main issue I take is I'm going to criticize what I criticize, and I'm being told by some, and I'm told this is every time I criticize something by the time, or anytime Mahler criticizes, or anytime any of us criticize anything. You just hate it. So I'm being accused of basically lying. Like I secretly enjoy it somehow, and I'm just out there not enjoying it for money, which is just not the case. If I'm mediocre on something, I generally don't review it because it's like those are the worst reviews. Like it's okay, it's fine. This is okay. That's fine. It's not super offensively bad or anything. I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like, and I think what Ahsoka does is I think it really encapsulates everything that's wrong with Disney Star Wars. And I think we've all talked about this quite a bit lately. And it's just jangling keys. There is no story. It is not about anything. And I think that's I just think that's the case. And I think what people, and I'm trying to get my head around why people would enjoy this. I'm not going to have all the answers, by the way, but I'm just trying to get my head around it because I'm like, this isn't a good story. It's not even exciting. There's nothing there. And I love genre. I love it all. And I would love nothing more for there to be a good Star Wars out there to enjoy. It would be fucking awesome, but it just isn't. Like, like what else do you want me to say? I think Ahsoka is just as bad as fucking Obi-Wan and Mando season 3. There's no distinction between them at all. They're horribly acted, horribly written, horribly edited, meaningless stories. But that's my opinion. That's all. But if somebody wants to like it, absolutely like it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's fine. Happy anniversary. Glad you guys had a wonderful time. We did, Fletcher Williams. I suck at games. I suck at games worse than you do, Fletcher. I'm the worst. All right, we're going to have to... Oh, wait, there's one more. Dave Filoni's dog. Oh, God. For $10. I'm covered in fur. That means if you put a match to me, I'll go up in flames faster than a Buddhist monk made of oil rags. Just putting it out there. Any takers? Anyone, please end my pain. Dave Filoni's dog returns. Mahler,
Yeah.
You just had a video that's out that people can go enjoy right now if they want to.
They want to, yes. And I had a few people watch it who hadn't even seen Ahsoka, and they thought the video was understandable, if you know what I mean. I tried to balance the exposition with a bit of comedy in there. It was good to hear that some people were finding it very, very funny, because of course that's the best way to deal with a lot of what is kind of a bit sad about the state of Star Wars, as has been for a decent while now. And I assume you saw the part of the video that I consider very it draws it all back, but I was like, what is Patient Zero? It's like, it's Han Solo. He was the first one.
Yes.
First soldier down.
Yep. I mean, Ahsoka brought up I just thought there was nothing more to say about Disney Star Wars, to be honest with you. And I think we're honestly there. I think what people are enjoying, it's a dwindling audience. We just talked about like so many. I'm a normie when it comes to anime, obviously, and I'm talking about One Piece, and it's getting more popular. And we're talking about aspects of the story and what we liked about certain characters and certain character moments and moments that made us feel, which is what art is supposed to do. But it's supposed to make you feel in the context of a story, not just a flashy image.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just to get, hey, like some shitty TV is made for some damn good memes. Like sheer fucking hubris from Picard season 1 is fantastic. It's great. The context of it is shit in the fucking story, though. It doesn't, and we all use that clip quite a bit because it's fucking funny, but it means shit in the story. That's all Ahsoka is providing, is like little gifs and memes for people to cheer over, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. I think it does more overall damage to the brand of Star Wars, which is a provable fact. My reviews aren't getting ratioed. So this big swell of like, this is a controversy or something, I'm just not seeing it. I think it's Disney Star Wars Twitter, and that's it. I think that, and some Reddit shit. But as far as like down votes on my videos, they're not, it's right there normal with everything else I do. I'm not getting destroyed or in the comment section or anything. And I'm pretty hard on it. And I think Mahler's video will see a lot of likes.
I was expecting it to piss off people a little bit more than it has so far, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think a lot. In other words, I think a lot of the praise for the show is highly manufactured. Highly. Are there people genuinely enjoying it? Sure, go ahead. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't ruin my day at all. So Mahler, I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Real BBC.
Real BBC. Our boy Az will be back. He sounds like he's getting a lot better. I watched a little bit of his gaming stream today. It's called The Lies of P?
Yes. P being Pinocchio.
Cool. That's awesome. Never heard of it. Don't think I'll ever play it. But yeah, in the meantime, I have to I'll finish the square up next Thursday. Thanks for popping on. It was great talking to you, man.
Thanks for having me. It was fun hanging out. And yeah, I'm glad that the video's gone over relatively well. It was a bit of it felt very much, I know it sounds weird, but it felt much more passion driven than a lot of the stuff I often do. Obviously being out in 4 days, all ready to go in that amount of time. Part of it as well was like, I wanted to get it out before the next episode comes out, because I don't want to have to incorporate whatever happens next.
Yep. And
so on and so on. The original script, by the way, was 10 minutes. Then it was 20, then it was 30, then it was 40, then it was 40. And I remember freaking people like, okay, I gotta stop adding to it.
I feel you. Well, I mean, I'm obviously my videos are not as long as yours, but I always like, hey guys, to my editors, I'm like, this will be a short one. They're like, whatever. And it's like 25 minutes. Yeah, that's the thing about editing those up for episodic television. You got to get it out quick. And I think you did a great job. So we're going to end it there. Thanks to the mod, Rodix. Oh, we got one more. It says, Reaper's review had me stabbing myself in the knee to stop laughing. I didn't see Reaper's review, but I'll watch it. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and Ahsoka is providing for a lot of good entertainment outside of the actual show itself. Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff. Thanks again. To the Modrotics, thanks to everyone who left super chat and donation. You help keep the lights on. I will do a square up noon on Thursday to actually read most of the stuff. I did get to a few. Sorry. But had to talk to my boy Mahler, and I'm glad to be back home. Thanks again to the fellowship. You guys are rad. And again to the Modrotics. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's going to be like the super delayed ending.
Okay.
Awkward. There we go.